is getting old hat saying this, but it's just another great day in LA, downtown Los Angeles, and Staples Center. Come on inside for Fox Sports Net 2's live presentation of the Arena Football League as the Gladiators invade to take on your Los Angeles Avengers. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Bill Macdonald, of course, alongside the coach, Artie Gigantino. For the league, this is year number 17. For the Avengers, it's year number 4. And Artie, it's time for Ed Hotchkiss and the crew to take it to the next level.
Yeah, it really is. You know, you take a look at last year, and they were defeated by Tampa Bay in the first round of the playoffs. They were 8-6. And you know what? You look at this year, there's a lot of new things. There's a new defensive coordinator. A couple of all-star players have joined this team, and there's brand new uniforms. So they didn't lay low in the offseason. They made improvements in a lot of areas, and we'll get to them all.
And we will get to the new coach in a matter of moments. First, let's talk offense. And now, firmly entrenched as the #1 quarterback, the sweet southpaw, is Tony Graziani.
And you know, this will be his second year as a full-time starter. I love this guy. He's a smart football player. He does all the right things, not only in the huddle, but right after the ball is snapped. Look for him to have a huge year again this year.
Chris Jackson, if he stays healthy, could be a record breaker.
And you know, he missed 4 to 5 games last year due to various injuries. He has got to stay healthy. And between him and Graziani, you have a deadly combination. I think that is as good as any quarterback receiver in the league.
Now, if you're new to the Arena League, a lot of these guys play on both sides of the football. And if you're good, you're an Iron Man. And this team has the Iron Man of the year in Greg Hopkins.
Greg Hopkins is what the Arena Football League is all about. As a receiver, he was 3rd in the league in touchdowns, points scored, receptions, and reception yardage. This guy does it all, but he doesn't stop as a wide receiver. Is the man from Slippery Rock, as we call him, excels on defense. Now he leads the Arena Football League with 8 interception returns, 4 touchdowns. He's a deadly player, not only on offense, but on defense. He's the core of this football team.
A couple of big free agent acquisitions. Well, rather, Sia Burley, who I'm about to talk about, came over in a trade. Future considerations might as well have been a free agent move because cash was involved.
Yeah, from Orlando. And, you know, in the last 2 years in the Arena Football League, this guy has more all-purpose yardage than anyone else. I mean, it's the equivalent of over 2.6 miles. He can churn up the yardage, not only as a receiver, but also as a kick returner.
You just figured that out?
Yes, I did.
2.6
That's pretty good,
miles.
huh?
Avengers now have 3 guys that can go to the post and deep. This is going to be a fun team to watch. Take a break. When we come back after this, the coach will break down the other side of the football. And this team may go as far as the defense takes them. Avenger Arena Football on Fox Sports at 2.
If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. The new double chili burger and chili cheese fries at Carl's Jr.
What if you had the chance to be God for 1 week? What would you do? This Memorial Day, let there be light. The guy next door gets his shot at being the man upstairs.
Bam.
Jim Carrey.
They saw that it was good.
Bruce Almighty.
Here's what some anonymous random strangers have to say about the Kids in the Hall pay-per-view special.
What? Kids in the Hall?
This pay-per-view thing sounds like an awfully good idea.
If I watch regular TV, I feel cheap and dirty and common.
Touching your head.
Yeah.
No! I'm a chicken leg!
This is how I really wanted to see the Kids in the Hall. This is my opportunity.
The Kids in the Hall Tour of Duty premiering on Saturday, February 8th on Direct Ticket pay-per-view on DirecTV.
It's the finest submarine in the world.
She was the pride of Russia.
We will not fail.
Sea trials begin in 2 weeks.
Boat isn't ready, Captain.
We deliver or we drown.
And almost the world's first nuclear disaster.
The core's heating up.
Readings rising in every compartment.
Service the boat!
Based on a true story. K-19, The Widowmaker. Now playing on Blockbuster pay-per-view movies. Order now with your remote.
Set 2.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Weeknights on Fox Sports Net.
We are getting underway the arena football season for 2003. A couple of months earlier than normal this year, the Gladiators and the Avengers, and we welcome you back. Well, we know the Avengers are going to score points, and lots of them, but can they stop the opposition? Well, they went out and they raided the Arena Bowl champion Sabercats of San Jose for one of their top pass rushers in Mike Ulafali.
Ulafali's a great player. He not only can run and defend the run, he's an excellent pass rusher. And you watch him during the course of the year and how many balls he bats down. He's 6'5", he's extremely athletic. He had a cup of coffee in the National Football League. He's very passionate about playing this game. That's a tremendous acquisition.
Ed Hotchkiss, the head coach, he's a smart guy. He went out and got one of the best to coach the defensive side of the ball in Doug Kay. We cornered him a few moments ago, asked him what his concerns are going into game number 1.
Certainly the biggest concern is cohesion, getting all the players to fit into the spots that we would like to have them fit into, getting to fit into the things that we would like to have them do in order for team defense to be successful.
Now, Doug Kay used to be a head football coach in the Arena Football League at the Carolina franchise in the year 2000 and 2001. He's got 2 rings, though, from Tampa and Arizona as a defensive coordinator. He's an old friend of mine. He's a Grizzly coach of 40 years. He'll be another great addition to this football team.
You ready to go?
I'm ready to go, and so is Coach Kay. I'll tell you that.
Artie Gigantino, if he's ready, we hope you are too. When we come back, we'll kick it off. Arena football for 2003, Gladiators and the Avengers.
Hi, I'm your new satellite system.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of equipment.
Oh, this isn't the half of it.
Looks weird.
It's ugly.
I heard that.
We'd like to watch the big game tonight.
It's supposed to be a doozy. Sorry. Local channels are extra.
We want to switch back to cable.
Gee, I'd like to help you, but you actually signed the contract. That was your big mistake.
Don't let satellite into your home. Instead, upgrade to cable. Call 1-800-800-CABLE now.
Well, so much for good reception.
I am a soldier. An army of one. Even though I am part of the strongest army in the world, I am my own force. With the latest technology, training, and support, who I am has become better than who I was. And I'll be the first to tell you, the might of the U.S. Army doesn't lie in numbers. It lies in soldiers like me. Specialist Mark DeCarli. I am an army of one, and you can see my strength.
Fox Sports Net 2 is proud to present Avengers Arena Football, brought to you by Carl's Jr. Don't bother me, I'm eating. And by Delta Airlines, the official airline of the LA Avengers. Staples Center on opening day for this season. Good crowd on hand, and last year attendance was up over 60%, and we expect more to flock to Los Angeles' only pro football team, the Avengers. Ed Hotchkiss, his first head coaching job in his second year here.
And he did a great job last year leading this team to the playoffs, 8-6, and Bill with a couple of breaks that very easily could have been 10 wins. I really like the job he's doing.
Frank Hagee, similar. That it's his second year in this league, and he also turned around his franchise. He was a coach in Arena 2 for the Quad City Steam Wheelers. I just love those Arena 2 nicknames.
You know what? And he's the only coach in the history of the Arena Football League at any level to go undefeated in the season. 2 years ago, he was 19-0 at Quad City. And we'll talk a lot more about him during the course of today's game. He's done a sensational job also.
The Gladiators, one story that we'll be talking about, they played last year in New Jersey. They have moved to Las Vegas, where they will play their first home game next week. Steve Viditek, the best kicker in the league, will kick off to Sia Burley. With the impressive resume, he's got the football at the end of the end zone. Here comes Burley across the 10 to the 17, 18-yard line, where Tony Graziani and the red-clad homestanding Avengers will set up shop.
You know, and Burley's going to give them a lot of zip in the kicking game as we take a look at Tony Graziani, third in the league last year in pass rating and in total offense. This guy threw 67 touchdown passes last year, had a wonderful year.
And he's added some bulk. He's got about 12, 13 more pounds of muscle, and it says, he says it has added to the zip on the football. Plus, he was hit an awful lot last year, and I think it'll add to his consistency in the back and trying to stay healthy. He will throw, of course, to the end zone. Touchdown! C.J. Chris Jackson, first play of the year, Avengers!
You know, if you had to strip something, that's the way you start off the 2003 campaign, with a touchdown pass from your star quarterback to your star receiver. Now we're going to take a look here at Graziani go back, and Chris Jackson just runs a deep post and comes all the way across the field, and he is wide open. Big play.
Jackson, 85 catches last year, despite the fact that he missed 4 games with an injury. He was on a record pace for the first half dozen. He played with Green Bay this past year. Here's a bad snap, but the kick is up and is good by Remy Hamilton, who's among the top kickers also in the AFL. How about that? 1 pass, 1 completion, 1 touchdown. This is what the AFL is all about. 7-0, Los Angeles.
Avengers Arena Football, demonstrated by Kurt Warner and John Elway. Avengers quarterbacks pass almost every play. Scores so high, you'll need oxygen. Running for the sidelines? What sidelines? And the field, only 50 yards long. Want to see it all for yourself? Call 888-AVENGERS and get your tickets today.
The Avengers versus the Sabercats, Sunday at noon in Staples Center. Call 888-AVENGERS.
Chickens have breasts, wings, and thighs. But no one has ever found the nuggets on a chicken.
It's not there either.
Chicken breast strips from Carl's Jr. Because chickens don't have nuggets.
I will not be afraid of the dark.
I will not feel guilty leaving my dog alone.
I will know my children are safe.
I will finally be able to relax!
At ADT, we help more people feel safe in more ways than any other security company. A single ADT system can help protect your home and family from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide for as little as $99. Plus, save up to 20% off your homeowner's insurance. Call 1-800-ADT-ASAP.
Nothing less than a run at the title will be acceptable for the Avengers this year, and they come out of the gate blazing with Graziani to Jackson. One play, 31 yards. It took them all of 24 seconds to get on top 7-0, and that's also a good sign. If you recall, the first 2.5 years of this franchise, Artie, they were always seemingly playing from behind. So it's nice to jump out.
It wasn't seemingly, because they were, but you know, it's called growing pains, and went through a couple of head coaches. But now I like all the moves that Casey Wasserman and Todd Mirko and the front office have made, not only from a player standpoint, but also from a coaching standpoint.
And we'll get into that, too. This organization has really elevated themselves near the top of the AFL, and quality depth is probably the biggest story on this Avenger team. But now they're going to have to turn around and play some defense. And Cedric Robinson is back, and he's one of the best. Returned 4 for scores last year. And there he is getting set. The kick of Remy Hamilton, who's got a very strong leg. Normally drives it high on the tight net, and that's exactly where that one is, in the middle. Here's Robinson. He comes across the goal line, makes a couple of moves, and he's across the 10-yard line and out of bounds on the near side. And here come the Gladiators, 9-5 last year, and division winners in the East. And their quarterback, the ever streaky Jay Macdonald.
And you know, he was with Frank Hagee at the Quad City team, the Steamrollers. He's also an ex-boxer, which tells you about the degree of toughness that this young man has.
Take a hit. Doesn't have the best of mobility. He'll stand in there. In fact, these two teams similar offensively in the aspect. They both utilize 5-step drop. That's almost the last bastion in this league. Almost everybody going a quick drop. That one just one and bang, and it's complete out to the 20-yard line. Let's get to the lineups right now. Backs and receivers. Carter, Wilkinson, Jermaine Blaylock, and of course Horacek, who was the #1 receiver last year. Up front, and you've got to protect, because defensive push is so vitally important. Fort, Ward, and Cunningham. We talked about Mike Horacek, 118 catches, 31 touchdowns for over 1,200 yards last year, the #1 option. McDonough over the middle, guns it, caught, quickly brought down as Damon Wheeler, the defensive specialist, comes over to deliver the hit, but it's a first down for Vegas. Defensively, Tony Planton, who really had a good year last year, and they expect big things out of him. John DeWitt and the free agent acquisition, the sack master, Mike Ulafali. Lonnie Ford, the former Trojan. Greg Hopkins, best at his position in the league. Kevin Ingram. And then there's Wheeler and Waswa Saranga, the former Bruin, and it all hinges on them. They've got the talent, Artie, at the DS, but they don't have the experience there.
Well, look for Damon Wheeler, though, to fill that role. He's a rookie in this league from the University of Colorado. He played 5 games a year ago with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's a local kid in terms of California, from Sacramento. He is a good player, and he's just got to learn how to play in this league.
Doug Kay, the defensive coordinator who you've heard from at the top, was lamenting the fact that there were no preseason exhibition games. They really could have used it defensively. They did have a scrimmage against Dallas and didn't look all that good. So it's a trial by fire for the DSs this year.
Well, you know, when you're playing 16 games and the league said, hey, let's just get right to it, you know, there's positives and negatives to both. Personally, as a coach, you want to play a preseason game. But I think as a players and fans, you say, hey, let's get down to the real thing right away. As we take a look at Doug Kay, we'll be talking about him all night. He will do a very good job as the defensive coordinator here for the Avengers. He'll bring some toughness to this defense.
McDonough, good protection, throws incomplete, little behind the intended receiver, Horacek, and again, Wheeler, boy, if this is any indication, he is going to be a heavy hitter this season.
Excellent coverage that time. Horacek turns and starts to run before he catches the ball. I also think there's a part of him that maybe heard some footsteps from Wheeler, but that's the kind of defensive secondary play and aggression Doug Kay wants out of his defensive backs.
Mark Ricks was the one patrolling for the most part the last couple of years. He was let go this season, and thus a Wheeler will be covering the top opposition. McDonough on 3rd down will throw, incomplete, bounced right off of #1. Had it, dropped it. 4th down, field goal upcoming. And although there are some in this league, Artie, that will say a field goal try is a stop if they go for a field goal here, Doug Kay doesn't think that way. He says it's either no points. That's the only way he considers it to be a stop in this league.
He's being a little bit old-fashioned as we take a look at Frank Hagee.
I think
Coach Kay is a little old-fashioned about that because a field goal should be a gimme in this league. And yes, Las Vegas is going for it, and why not?
Last year, most efficient on 3rd and 4th downs, too. Here's McDonough. Back to pass. Has time. Looking. Going to run for it. Not going to get there. He throws it at the last minute with the left hand incomplete, and the Avengers will take over. And we can't emphasize enough how important stops are in this league. You get an average of around 12 possessions each and every time. And if you can get 2 or 3 stops a half, you're in great shape.
And you know, you made a great point because a year ago when they were in New Jersey, Las Vegas was 50% on 3rd down conversions, which is very good.
Take a break. When we come back after this, the Avengers with the lead will have the football. The defense does its job.
In competition, injuries happen. It's part of the game. And to get back your level of performance takes a lot of hard work, discipline, and the best health care. Health South is the nation's leading provider of outpatient diagnostic, surgery, and rehabilitation services, so we can help you get back fast to the action, the competition, and the glory. We know your body. We understand your spirit. We get you back.
Hi, I'm your new satellite system.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of equipment.
Oh, this isn't the half of it.
Looks weird.
It's ugly.
I heard that. We'd like to watch the big game tonight.
It's supposed to be a doozy. Sorry, local channels are extra.
We want to switch back to cable.
Gee, I'd like to help you, but you actually signed the contract. That was your big mistake.
Don't let satellite into your home. Instead, upgrade to cable. Call 1-800-800-CABLE now.
Well, so much for good reception.
I am a soldier. An army of one. Even though I am part of the strongest army in the world, I am my own force. With the latest technology, training, and support, who I am has become better than who I was. And I'll be the first to tell you, the might of the U.S. Army doesn't lie in numbers. It lies in soldiers like me, Specialist Mark DeCarli. I am an army of one, and you can see my strength.
We're just getting going here at Staples Center. Billy Mack and Artie Gigantino, 7-0 Avengers. And coming up tonight, it's the Southern California Sports Report. We got a half hour for you, breaking it all down for your teams in Southern California. Plenty to talk about. We'll have postgame from here at Staples Center. Trojans in action over at the Sports Arena, and NHL All-Star recap, plus the Pro Bowl. Lots going on here on a Sunday, and we'll have it for you on the Southern California Sports Report. Second play of the year. First play resulted in a touchdown. Graziani hit as he throws. Has Jackson again. Looking for a first down and more. CJ inside the 20, all the way down to the 19-yard line, and they'll move the chains for the red, white, and blue of the Avengers. Let's get to the lineups after that 17-yard gain. The Samoan semi, Matthias Vavau, will be the fullback. Kevin Ingram, Greg Hopkins, and Chris Jackson will be the wideouts. Tony Planton, Sean McNamara, and Los, as they call him, Carlos Fowler, who's come in at a pretty good weight of 265 this year, hopefully to get back to his lineman of the year form of a couple of years ago. First down, call it the 18-yard line. Ingram, the motion man. Quick hit out to Hopkins. That's going to be incomplete. Quickly now, the Vegas defense, and it's a very physical D. Younger, Kraft, and Cunningham will be up front. In the back, they have one of the best in Damon Mason as a defensive specialist. Carter, Henderson, Harris, and Coe round out the other four. And here is Damon Mason, Artie.
This guy is very, very good. He was second team All-Arena Football League last year. Keep your eye on him tonight. He's an excellent football player. Jackson
will be the motion man. He gets going at the 25, hits the line running. Graziani back, throws, overthrew the intended receiver, Chris Jackson. And Graziani knew he had his man open, so frustrated a bit.
You think Jackson's been the target so far tonight? I mean, the matchups are advantageous for the Avengers, but Ed Hotchkiss, who calls the plays, as you see him there talking to his quarterback, Tony Graziani, is working, as they say, the secondary with Chris Jackson.
On a 3rd and 10 upcoming, he says that Graziani is mentally so far ahead. He's adapted to the physical speed of this game, but mentally he has grasped Hotchkiss' system, which is remarkably simple for a offensive young genius, if you will. Here's a great catch by Hopkins, but I believe he's going to be short of a first down as he disappears along the near side dashers. It'll set up a 4th down and about 2, and now it's decision time, and I think we might see Remy Hamilton.
Well, it's the sure-handed Greg Hopkins there making the catch. It's a throw, it's an out pattern, and again, Hopkins just was not quite aware of where he was, but he makes an excellent catch, just falls a little short. And to the second guessers out there, this is the correct thing for the Avengers to do here, is try for the field goal, and Billy Mack, get points on the board early in the game.
He was 10 out of 15 inside the 30, and it's a fake. And it's going to be short, too, I believe, unless they give him forward progress. And right now, it looks like it's to the 9, and the Gladiators will have held, and they will take over.
I would have went for the points, but it was a short snap that time. The number 25, the fullback, Lonnie Ford, who's a defensive end also, and it fails. It's heads up by the Gladiator defense.
Well, you and I both know that Hotchkiss likes to roll the dice. Ironic enough that it's going to be against Vegas
I know,
today.
Especially at special teams.
Yeah, special teams. We're going to see a lot of onside kicking from the Avengers this year. He likes to keep possession and also use the onside kick to control the clock. You and I talked about it, why the other teams don't use it more. We'll see if they do throughout this season. Take a quick break. Be back with more at Staples Center.
For all the mountains you will climb together.
I do.
For all the obstacles you will face in life.
I can.
For all the things you will need to fulfill your dreams.
Jeep Grand Cherokee.
Jeep Grand Cherokee offers power, comfort, and luxury. It's true love.
Qualified returning Daimler Chrysler lessees can lease Grand Cherokee Laredo for just $299 a month.
Chickens have breasts, wings, and thighs. but no one has ever found the nuggets on a chicken.
It's not there either.
Chicken breast strips from Carl's Jr. Because chickens don't have nuggets.
With a spacious cabin, an available DVD entertainment system, and a powerful 4.7-liter V8 engine, the new Lexus GX is an adventure in luxury. See your Southern California Lexus dealer.
Next week, you can get a bobblehead of that man right there, if you want to call him a man. The mascot, TD, who's entertaining the crowd. 7-0 Avengers. And by the way, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's the world of extreme sports. Check it out. Every weeknight at 5 and 10:30, only on Fox Sports Net.
It's a cool new show.
That's because Leanne's on
I
it.
know,
Here's
it's a cool
McDonough
show.
inside his own 5. Now, Horacek has his catch. Let's talk about the great one. 6'2", 205 from Iowa State. He was Kurt Warner's favorite target. Remember that a few years back for the Iowa Barnstormers.
And that 6'2" doesn't do him justice because he's a big guy. He looks bigger than that. Sure-handed. 31 touchdowns a year ago. Got National Football League potential written all over him. But you know what? He loves the Arena Football League and has turned down numerous opportunities to go to an NFL camp.
Former player of the year in this league. McDonough again, and that time a step behind Williams, who was streaking, and I think would have scored had it been on target.
You know, there's this team right now, the Gladiators, their passing offense looks a little bit out of rhythm. And that's the kind of thing we were talking about of why coaches want preseason games. Because I don't care who you scrimmage, no matter what you do in practice, it's not the same as the adrenaline of a game.
On the upside, though, almost the entire roster has come back for this Las Vegas team. They have many returnees, so they're used to the system, but it does take a while to get your timing back. Here's Williams as the defender. Ingram fell down. He upends him, but it's close to a first down.
That's why they call it the off season, because your timing is off when you come back. Remember that. There's no such thing as spring practice in the Arena Football League there, Bill.
Yeah, but it's different for these two teams.
I know.
As far as bringing them back, I remember it was a complete overhaul last year for the Avengers, but they brought back a lot of their core players.
But there you see Ingram fall down, and one of the things on the AstroTurf or on the artificial surface, it's extremely hard, and you got to get used to the footing.
Under 5 minutes to play, first quarter, looking for their first points of the year. Las Vegas, McDonough has to roll and scramble. The coaches are moving. Flag is down. Touchdown to Horacek, but we'll have to check the flag. Could be a hold on the Gladiators as the flag is back at the 20-yard line. Bring it back and erase the touchdown.
And where the flag was thrown gives you a very strong indication that indeed it was holding. Now, when the quarterback starts to move around, offensive linemen don't know where he is. And those are the situations which create holds by the offensive lineman.
Doug Kay, and again, as you mentioned, we'll talk about him quite a bit because he's going to make a huge impact on this team. He evaluates the pass rush not by sacks, but how the plays are altered. If you make the quarterback do what he wasn't intended to do, he says that is a successful play by the front line.
Well, that should have been a successful play that time because he made the quarterback, McDonough, alter where he threw it from. You see Doug Kay, you're not going to see many smiles out of him during the course of the year.
Good friend of Monty Kiffin, who just got that $1.5 million gig to re-up at Tampa Bay, by the way, in the NFL after the Super Bowl win. Robinson, the diving catch. That is Cedric Robinson. Also, Dennison Robinson, we will see on offense.
Cedric Robinson's going to run down the field, make a little move to the outside, and run what we call a turnaround route. He literally runs down 12 yards, turns around, and the ball is there. There was good timing that time.
Set up a second down and 1 after the 9-yard gain.
Robinson in his third year out of Kentucky Wesleyan, very good player.
McDonough throws, misses his target. Horacek, and that's the streaky McDonough. I mean, he is not what you would call a precise passer. He was second total offense, 62 touchdowns, which are, of course, amazing numbers, and just a shade short of 3,600 yards, but streaky again. But you know why he's better, Artie? And I know you'll agree with this, the talent around him. It makes making him look better.
Absolutely. And you got to remember, too, this was the fourth best team last year based on the playoff seeding in the Arena Football League. They moved to Las Vegas for a better venue in which to operate, and it should make improvements in this football game.
Third down and long. Boy, what a great escape from Planton. McDonough now throws to the other side. Touchdown! What a great play! Jay McDonough finding Mike Horacek. That's sensational stuff. And we're a point away from being tied at 7.
Yeah,
my.
McDonough might not have great scrambling ability, so to speak, but he's extremely subtle in his ability.
He got away from DeWitt.
I know, but he's extremely subtle in his ability to sidestep people. There's a pump on that. He gets away from one man, gets away from Ford, number 25, and throws the tough throw all the way across the field. That is a big-time play by the quarterback. Now, he pays the price because he gets knocked into the dasher boards, but he looks to be okay.
And he was, well, wobbling off is the way to describe him.
He's a boxer, remember?
Down for the count. And Viditek will be on to try the extra point, so improvising.
They have a very good backup, though, and that man right there, Todd Hamill, number 11, been in this league 12 years, 6'2", 225.
Viditek right through. By the way, the nets, different color this year. They are black instead of white to make it a little easier for the fans in the AFL. We're tied at 7.
If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. The new double chili burger and chili cheese fries at Carl's Jr.
I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm becoming. But I know one thing for sure. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Couple of minutes left in quarter number 1 in the season opener here at Staples Center. Tied at 7. Our next home game will be February the 9th. That's next week. NBC will be televising it, but you can forget about that for the time being because we'd like to see you here. Carl's Jr. will present TD bobbleheads to the first 5,000, and the Arena Bowl champs are in town. A noon start. Tickets start as low as $10. Chance for you to stand with your Avengers. Ticketmaster 2 and 3. And the number, we'll get it back to you a little bit later on. 480-3232. It just disappeared before my very eyes, and we turn out to the 6-yard line. And I do want to mention our partners, NBC, because it's a historical revenue sharing deal that the league has struck with NBC, and they will be televising many Avenger games this year, starting with that game next week. And we on Fox Sports Net 2 get 6 games, 4 home and 2 away.
And the partnership with NBC prompted the league to move the season to this earlier date. This is the earliest this league has ever started. It was a shorter offseason for the players and the coaches.
Starting from their own 6 after a 6-play 41-yard drive by Las Vegas. It's a quick hitter out to Jackson, and he's wrestled out of bounds about 1.5 yards short of the first down at the 15-yard line.
You know, you were talking about combinations before, Bill, and between Greg Hopkins and Chris Jackson, they scored 384 points last year, which is the most of any duo in the league on any team. I think that's a remarkable statistic, and between them, they were 70% of this offense.
Tell you what, Greg Hopkins is a great player, but he's lived a charmed life in this league. He's had Eddie Brown alongside for a couple of years. Now he has Chris Jackson, and it really opens things up for him. He's still in play. Boy, that is a nice arena play by number 82, Greg Hopkins. He made the catch, then pushed off of the boards and stayed inbounds.
Yeah, because the boards, the dasher boards for our fans out there watching is in play. If you catch a pass off the dasher boards, it's a complete pass. Now, I'm going to tell you something. That was a late hit that time by number 19. Who's 19?
On Vegas?
Wilkinson from Vegas. He elbowed him right in the mouth. Jeremy Wilkinson. That was a late hit.
You know, it took it to about week 4 last year before you lost it. It's taken about 10 minutes. Here's a throw. Touchdown! Chris Jackson's got 2 in the first quarter. 21 yards, and the Avengers on the last play of quarter number 1 have the lead back.
A flag route by Jackson. You're going to see him start back, come up in motion on the right side of the formation, run down the field, and literally run for the flag in the end zone. Excellent throw. And, you know, a pass with that type of precision, Bill, and that type of route is almost impossible to defend.
The former modern-day high school basketball star who then went on to Orange Coast College and started his football career. And Chris Jackson, the only remaining original Avenger after Anthony Rice was let go a couple of weeks ago. So he has been here to see it all for 4 years, and he's the star in quarter number 1. 3 plays, 43 yards, took just under 2 minutes. And the coup de grace, they say. Graziani to his favorite target, 14-7 after 1.
How do you feel when you don't work out? How do you feel when you do? At 24 Hour Fitness, your certified personal trainer custom tailors a health and fitness program for you. You'll get all the support and guidance you need to get great results.
Call today and get 2 for 1 or 50% off for you. Call 1-800-204-2400.
It's the way we make you feel.
If you ever lose your Bank of America credit or check card and it's used fraudulently, you won't be liable for a cent and will replace your loss by the end of the next business day. Guaranteed. Introducing Total Security Protection. Our way of helping you feel safer using your cards. It's free, automatic, and only from Bank of America.
Lennox Lewis's boxing success didn't bring respect.
When I'm heavyweight champion of the world, who's going to claim me?
A champ's fight for his place in history. Beyond the Glory, tonight at 8 on Fox Sports Net.
College basketball on Fox Sports Net 2. UCLA looks for revenge against a Trojan team looking for the season sweep. Wednesday on Fox Sports Net 2.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Introducing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The only show that takes you inside the world of extreme sports each and every weeknight.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The breaking news, event highlights, and inside features you won't find anywhere else. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Weeknights on Fox Sports Net.
Fox Sports Net 2 presents Avengers Arena Football, brought to you by Carl Jr. Without us, some Avenger fans would starve. By Delta Airlines, the official airline of the Los Angeles Avengers. And by Adelphia, your link to everything. Back in Los Angeles, downtown Staples Center, I'm Bill Macdonald. Happy that Artie Gigantino ended that contractual holdout of his, signed that mega year, multi-buck deal to be alongside me.
You're beautiful, Billy. It's great to be back. Mid-season form.
Hamilton booms it away. Robinson waiting. Takes a crazy hop. This is a live football, and down he goes. That is not a safety. It'll come out to the 5-yard line.
And that's the crazy thing about the kicking game in the Arena Football League. When the ball goes off the net, it takes all kinds of bounces. Sometimes it's a hard bounce. Sometimes it's a soft bounce. Now, an addition this year has been the fluorescent look of the uprights to make it easier for the officials to see if it's a field goal or not. That time Robinson trips after he picks up the ball.
That goalpost 9 feet higher than an NFL 15 feet wide. It's like they're trying to put a piece of toast, bread in the toaster right there when you're trying to slip it through. 14-7, we're just underway here in the second quarter after a 7-yard game.
You know, you take a look at the Gladiators. Again, we talked about them being in New Jersey a year ago. They're a big physical team. I was amazed at how big their receiving core was when we were down on the field prior to the game. This is a big physical team.
McDonough, quick, throws, Robinson. And it's a first down out to the 18-yard line. Well, let's talk about it. They were 9-5 last year after the biggest turnaround in league history. The previous season, they were just 2-12. They won their division, and they were losing, what, $4 or $5 million? And they had to compete with about 11 other franchises.
Well, they
so
brought,
Hagee and company said, let's go to Sin City.
Well, they brought this guy in, and he gave them a winning attitude. Like we talked about, did a great job in Arena Football League, too.
Yeah, that's on the field. And off the field, Thomas and Mack Center really stepped up. And Vegas was a city that the AFL has been looking at for a long time anyway. And Thomas and Mack was able to accommodate them because it wasn't even made official till the end of December. So Vegas quickly in this league. Here's our Universal Studios trivia. Who owns the single-season AFL record for most touchdowns? Artie?
I know.
You always say that you know.
We'll answer at halftime, but you know what? He might be in the building.
Write it down on a piece of paper. McDonough, pump fake. Now throws. End zone, overthrow. Wheeler, did he pick it off? Yes, he did. Damon Wheeler, first interception of the year after a poorly thrown ball, but we might have the new rule after the pump fake. Artie explained this because there's a pump fake by McDonough, and he's trying to bait the defense in that respect. We'll see if that's the call.
There is no foul on the play for a linebacker out of the box. The quarterback had pump fake. Therefore, the ball goes over on an interception.
Professor, explain, because this is a rule change this year.
And it's interesting because in the Arena Football League in the past, the linebackers could not leave the linebacker box and cover the flat. However, this year, if the quarterback pump fakes, then the linebackers can leave the linebacker box. That time, the ball was clearly overthrown. Tremendous interception by Wheeler, but the flag was thrown because of the pump fake, which then tells the linebackers they are free to cover the outside part of the flat. I think it's a good rule. It's an improvement in the defensive part, in the defensive aspect of the game.
It's tough to play defense in any way, shape, or form here in the AFL. In fact, Doug Case said you've got to be a masochist. He had a great quote. He said, I would always walk in the building, and there'd be 35 bleeping points already on the board before I even had a play.
Well, you know what? You're taking a look at Damon Mason here, 5'9", 180 pounds, 60-year man out of Southwest Louisiana, one of the premier defenders and defensive specialists in the league. That time, Jamar Ward, the big man on the line of scrimmage, knocked the ball down.
Graziani 6 out of 9 for 99 yards and a couple of scores, no touchdowns. Graziani again has his man, Russell Shaw. He's at the 20, moves to the inside, hits his own man, and Damon Mason giving assist to Greg Hopkins. But a good play, Russell Shaw, the former Wolverine, and it's a first down in Gladiator territory.
And obviously some miscommunication on the coverage this time. As we look at the bottom of the screen here, Russell Shaw runs an out and up the field, catches the ball, perfectly thrown by Graziani, and like you said, he runs into his own man. But you know what? The guy from Locke High School and El Camino Junior College, local Los Angeles guy, does the right thing because you want to run north and south on that, Bill.
31 yards on the game. Graziani again slings it out, caught by Hopkins. He buries his shoulder. He's to the 1-yard line is Greg Hopkins. It'll be first down and goal for the Avengers.
That's an example of how powerful Hopkins is. That time he caught the pass, but he racked. In other words, he got 5 to 6 yards run after catch with 2 defenders on him. Big, strong, powerful man as he runs an out flat pattern and gets the extra 6 or 7 yards up the field.
And Mason was run into by his own man and pinned up against the board, and he is being attended to, and the best player, the franchise tag is already put on him.
Remember now, when we talked about getting hit into these dasher boards, the dasher boards hit back. It's almost like a ping pong ball. You get hit by a defender or an offensive guy, and then you get hit by the dasher boards.
They're softer.
No, they're not.
But, all right, you're right. We're
They
back
still
with
hurt.
more. First a goal in a moment.
In competition, injuries happen. It's part of the game. And to get back your level of performance takes a lot of hard work, discipline, and the best health care. Health South is the nation's leading provider of outpatient diagnostic, surgery, and rehabilitation services. So we can help you get back fast to the action, the competition, and the glory. We know your body. We understand your spirit. We get you back.
Hi, I'm your new satellite system.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of equipment.
Oh, this isn't the half of it.
Looks weird.
It's ugly.
I heard that. We'd like to watch the big game tonight.
Supposed to be a doozy. Sorry. Local channels are extra.
We want to switch back to cable.
Gee, I'd like to help you, but you actually signed the contract. That was your big mistake.
Don't let satellite into your home. Instead, upgrade to cable. Call 1-800-800-CABLE now.
Well, so much for good reception.
Avengers Arena Football demonstrated by Kurt Warner and John Elway. Avengers quarterbacks pass almost every play. Scores so high, you'll need oxygen. Running for the sidelines? What sidelines? And the field, only 50 yards long. Want to see it all for yourself? Call 888-AVENGERS and get your tickets today.
The Avengers versus the SaberCats, Sunday at noon in Staples Center. Call 888-AVENGERS.
Good news for Vegas fans. Mason is up and ready to go. Bad news, it's first down at the 1-yard line. And we bring into play now that Chad Dukes, the AFL leading rusher, is no longer with the team. And Matthias Vavau, the Samoan semi, is tagged by PR director John Tamanaha, is big, beefy, and ready to go if needed.
All 6'5", 305 pounds of them. But the Avengers wanted more of a blocker at the fullback position, which is why Vavau is in there.
Graziani gives it to Vavau. Touchdown, Avengers. Big number 99's got his first of the year.
You know what? It's a different look. Some other teams have done it, but I don't know if they've done it with a guy that big. That was just what they call a 32 belly. In other words, the fullback, the three-back to the two-side of the line of scrimmage, and that's called running through tacklers. And Damon Mason, who weighs 180 pounds, wanted no part of the Samoan semi. What's it? The Samoan semi?
Samoan semi.
Semi-tractor trailer.
6'5", 305 at least out of Murray State. Now Hamilton will have the extra point. Up and good. And the Avengers rolling here in the early going. We have 10:18 remaining in the second quarter. Glad you're with us. We're live on Fox Sports Net 2. That 1-yard plunge. Avengers up by 14.
If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. The new double chili burger and chili cheese fries at Carl's Jr.
I am a soldier, an army of one. Even though I am part of the strongest army in the world, I am my own force. With the latest technology, training, and support, who I am has become better than who I was. And I'll be the first to tell you, the might of the U.S. Army doesn't lie in numbers. It lies in soldiers like me. Specialist Mark DeCarly. I am an army of one, and you can see my strength.
Avengers Arena Football demonstrated by Kurt Warner and John Elway. Avengers quarterbacks pass almost every play. Scores so high, you'll need oxygen. Running for the sidelines? What sidelines? And the field, only 50 yards long. Want to see it all for yourself? Call 888-AVENGERS and get your tickets today.
The Avengers versus the SaberCats, Sunday at noon in Staples Center. Call 888-AVENGERS.
Avengers up 21-7 here in the second quarter. And Wednesday on Fox Sports Net, college basketball. It's the Crosstown Showdown. SC and UCLA, it's for bragging rights in town. not much else on the line, although SC got a big win today for the Bruins. Hard times, 8 losses in a row. The last time that happened, 1940-41, when their leading scorer was Jackie Robinson. So the Bruins will try to end their slide, and the Trojans play host to the Bruins. And right now, this crowd being asked to stand by the voice of the Avengers, Sam Lagana. Stand with their Avengers. Hamilton boots it. Robinson waiting. Soft net. That's a great kick. And the mascot got involved with that one. Dead ball.
Dead ball. Now remember, if the ball goes in the stands, whoever has the ball can keep it. But however, that time, our man TD reached across and grabbed the ball.
Opportunity to come out and enjoy a family pack. You know, the Kings in this building have family nights, and they are most successful, and the Avengers have them too. And next week, for lower level tickets, 4 dogs, 4 sodas, all for only $48. It's a great deal. 1-888-AVENGERS. Just remember that number. All your questions will be answered. 1-888-AVENGERS. And that's the arena champion. Loose football down at the 4-yard line. And the Avengers looking for yet another break in the early going, but it'll be nothing more than a second down now as Macdonald will go visit with his coach.
And what McDonough's got to be able to do now is just settle down a little bit and just march down the field, and if nothing else, get a field goal out of this. They don't want to fall too far behind. Even though they're moving the ball 92 yards in the first quarter and a half is not bad, but it's the 21 points, obviously, that are all that matters in this league.
McDonough from his own end zone, wide open. This is number 19, Jeremy Wilkinson, and he's streaking down the sideline into Avenger territory. A trio of Avengers finally ride him out of bounds, but a nice gain. They're going to mark it out around the 14-yard line. But Wilkinson wide open on the near sideline.
And Wilkinson just does a stop pattern out here to the right. He stops, he catches the ball, tucks it in like a running back, and gets up the field. That time, the reason he was wide open was the Avengers were playing zone defense, and there's no one that can get out in the flat based on rules and cover them.
Well, I do want to talk about the evolution of the defense as another pass is complete to the 8-yard line. You know, when this league first started, it was basically man-to-man. Then it went to a cover 2. Now a lot of teams going to a cover 1 and gambling even more, figuring, you know, they just can't sit back and try to cover these guys.
Well, you got to be able to change it up because, again, the game is built around speed. It's built around the quarterback. It's built around the wide receivers. Guys like John DeWitt, number 97, who we just looked at, they've got to do a good job of creating a rush because I don't care who you are, you're not going to cover everybody or anybody all day long.
Anytime now, McDonough throws it into the stands, and now the scramble for the souvenir as low number.
And that's what I was just talking about.
DeWitt and Fowler.
Exactly. And Doug Kay loves that because pressure is the most important thing in this league. And Doug Kay, again, I call him a grizzled vet. He loves, look at that up front. See DeWitt at the bottom, number 97, and Fowler, the big guy up top from Wisconsin, running down McDonough.
Meeting with Coach earlier this week, DeWitt was the one that he really likes.
You know,
he's going to be his best guy.
290 pounds, 6th-year guy out of Vanderbilt, extremely smart and very athletic.
On 3rd down, McDonough, touchdown, Horacek. He went up the ladder to get that one, and certainly the frame helped. 6 points, 8 yards. McDonough the touchdown pass.
An option route down close to the goal line where the receiver is going to sit in an open zone. Watch Horacek right here. He's going to be the man in motion to the trip side, looks to the outside, turns around, ball is perfect. Again, that's one of those patterns that are almost indefensible, so to speak, because the ball is thrown so high, so perfectly, and so well timed. This Gladiator offense now, I think, Bill, is starting to get back into its end-of-the-year rhythm from last year.
Kick up, missed off the post. He hit the post. And it's 21-13. And you don't see that often. In fact, Viditek last year had 70 consecutive PATs go through the uprights.
I will not be afraid of the dark.
I will not feel guilty leaving my dog alone.
I will know my children are safe.
I will finally be able to relax!
At ADT, we help more people feel safe in more ways than any other security company. A single ADT system can help protect your home and family from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide for as little as $99. Plus save up to 20% off your homeowner's insurance. Call 1-800-ADT-ASAP.
What if you had the chance to be God for 1 week? What would you do? This Memorial Day, let there be light. The guy next door gets his shot at being the man upstairs.
Sam?
Jim Carrey.
They saw that it was good.
Bruce Almighty.
Avengers Arena Football demonstrated by Kurt Warner and John Elway. Avengers quarterbacks pass almost every play. Score so high, you'll need oxygen. Running for the sidelines? What sidelines? And the field, only 50 yards long. Want to see it all for yourself? Call 888-AVENGERS and get your tickets today.
The Avengers versus the Sabercats, Sunday at noon in Staples Center. Call 888-AVENGERS.
A look at one of the biggest of all Avenger fans, Melissa Rivers, in her regular row 1 seat near the Avenger bench. And tomorrow you can join Avengers head coach Ed Hotchkiss, the players, for the 2nd annual Avengers Luncheon. It's tomorrow at noon. Guest speaker will be Pat Hayden, formerly the Trojans, the Rams, and now doing NBC commentary. And head coach of the Trojans, Pete Carroll, will also be here at Staples Center. I will be hosting, and the proceeds will be benefiting the LA Sports Council. For more information, 1-888-AVENGERS. We'll see you tomorrow at noon. Sia Burley up the middle he goes. He's got some room. Burley out to the 18-yard line, flashing some of that world-class speed.
Brought down by the big man, Rick Cunningham, 6'6", 335 pounds. Burley, again, was brought into this organization to spice up the kick return game. He does a flawless job there of fielding the ball off the net and gets the extra 10 yards. Now, that's something, a speedster like that, being brought down by a guy that weighs 335 pounds. But like I talked about in the open, this guy has got a ton of yardage the last 2 years.
What he has also is RAC. It's called run after catch, which he's exhibiting right now. We often talk about it, Artie, and the guys who have it are truly special receivers.
And who invented the term?
No, I was using it way before.
I know, who invented the term?
Who did it?
1991, on ESPN, I did so.
All right.
Run after catch.
The light bulb, the internet, it's all Artie Gigantino.
Take a look at Burley. Whoever invented the word rack, he's got it. Run after catch.
That's all that the Avengers need their running game for, they say, is to get a half a yard and a first down. And getting the first down right there is Lonnie Ford. How about Lonnie Ford out of USC? Was a defensive end there, had 7 sacks his senior year in 2001. Caught 3 passes as a tight end for the Trojans.
Had a cup of coffee with the Carolina Panthers, but again, he's very similar to Valval in terms of the bigger guy, more of a blocker.
We've got flags flying. Personal foul to be on the Gladiators.
Number 95, defense, 10 yards. Corrected half
Tony
the
Henderson, not a happy camper. The big fella.
Might have gotten tossed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ball be
Out of
spotted at
Michigan.
the 10-yard line. First and goal.
He's looking for a comfy seat. Doesn't look like he's coming back anytime soon.
You know, in this game, you can't do that to your teammates because you can only suit up 20 players. You have 24 players, and you can only suit up 20. And you lose a player due to something like that, boy, you're really putting your teammates behind the 8 ball.
8 on the field at each time. 6 are two-way players. Here is Graziani. Pump fake one way over the middle. Touchdown, but there's a flag down. Touchdown to Sia Burley. Although Hopkins got caught up with the defender, this might be a good score. We will wait and see. The flag was away from the play.
Damon Mason doing his best acting job.
Illegal contact. Contact
That's going to be a touchdown for Sia Burley. 9 yards.
Result of the play.
Well, you talk about Graziani now looking over the field, Bill, and seeing the entire field and not pressuring himself than throwing the ball away or throw it to a guy that's covered. He looks to the right, he pumps, and then he finds Burley, who continues the route across the middle of the field. Nice play.
Artie, the hitches, the stop routes, the intermediate routes, and even a lofted long ball, he is absolutely cash. I'm talking about Graziani. The only ball that he still needs work on, as the coaches say, it's not the 7-iron throw, it's the 4-iron long throw when he really has to ear-hole a defender and buzz it in there. But more on that later. That was a great throw, good catch, and the Avengers once again have a 2-touchdown lead at 28-13.
I am a soldier, an army of one. Even though I am part of the strongest army in the world, I am my own force. With the latest technology, training, and support, who I am has become better than who I was. And I'll be the first to tell you, the might of the U.S. Army doesn't lie in numbers. It lies in soldiers like me, Specialist Mark DeCarli. I am an army of one, and you can see my strength.
Chickens have breasts, wings, and thighs. But no one has ever found the nuggets on a chicken.
It's not there either.
Chicken breast strips from Carl's Jr. Because chickens don't have nuggets.
You know, the King has come out of hibernation to stand with the Avengers, and he got booed on the scoreboard a few minutes ago. They're not happy to see him.
We're all here today. Hulk Hogan lookalikes, Elvis lookalikes.
February the 16th, we're going to be looking at the Great American Race on Fox as NASCAR is back. It's the 45th running of the Daytona 500. Our team of Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, and Larry McReynolds has it all for you. Now, Tony Stewart will lead the star-studded field of the world's best. He will begin his Winston Cup title defense. We have 15 weeks of NASCAR coverage, and it all kicks off with the Daytona 500 on Fox. We're in the second quarter, 4:10 remaining. Wonderful crowd on hand. The biggest crowd last year was the last day of the regular season against Buffalo here at Staples Center, when over 14,000 showed up. We are going to rival that and quite possibly surpass it today here in the home opener. And this will come out again to the 5-yard line. So far the special teams have been impeccable.
Yes,
for
excellent
the
job.
Avengers.
Brent Winter, who's the assistant head coach, coaches the special teams, coaches the wide receiver, is a Arena Football League kicking expert. And you believe me, you need somebody like that, because the rules in the kicking game are so foreign to the outdoor game in the kicking game that you need somebody who really knows it and has a passion for it.
McDonough from his own end zone throws to the open man. So the Avengers giving him the short stuff, and it's complete. Dennison Robinson, their Iron Man of the Year last year, makes the catch. He had 67 grabs, over 600 yards and 9 touchdowns. That one is for 5 yards.
Now here's a little no huddle, because I think the Gladiators want to increase the pace of this game and get their rhythm through the play calling as opposed to the execution. Whenever you go to a no huddle concept, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to totally control the tempo of the game. I'm surprised, Bill Macdonald, people don't do it more in this league.
Hagee, the coach, he coached at Augsburg College and Bemidji State.
Where's Bemidji State?
What?
Minnesota?
Where?
Is it Minnesota?
Bemidji State.
Yeah, it's got to be Minnesota, right? You know,
What do you mean it's gotta be
the
Minnesota?
Bemidji Mountains.
Oh. Here's a throw and a catch again. It's Robinson, has room to ramble down into Avenger territory. And then he is dragged down at the 9-yard line. So again, room to run. And Robinson takes advantage. 31 yards later, he's got a first down for Vegas.
And you know what's happening with the secondary now from Los Angeles? They're running what they call switch-offs. In other words, on a crossing type patterns at the line of scrimmage, the defensive backs are supposed to switch wide receivers, and they're not getting it done right now.
Dennison Robinson, more of a speed guy out of Western Georgia. Now you look for Horacek again. He had the big body, number 1. And instead it's to the corner, and the man was open. Ingram was beaten, but it's incomplete. So Williams, the intended receiver.
And again, that was a poor throw by Macdonald because, as you said so accurately, Williams was wide open, and Kevin Ingram just got his feet crossed a little bit as he tried to turn and run and get some depth on his drop.
Tell you what, Ingram is a guy that has impressed the coaches also. He played very well in camp. He's an example of the quality depth. He's going to be a force on offense, too. McDonough looks one way, goes the other. A quick completion, but then down he goes. The tackle by Serwanga, Waswa Serwanga, former Bruin of UCLA, and that's Dennison Robinson again with the catch.
And with a minute and 19 seconds left in the quarter, left in the half, Frank Hagee is going to take a timeout and try to survey the land here, so to speak, and get into a guessing game with Doug Kay on the defensive side. Now, one thing about this league, maybe more than the outdoor game, the quarterback has got as much input as the coach because everything happens so quickly.
Coming up at halftime, which is just mere moments away for you here on Fox Sports Net 2, we will have a feature on the original Avenger, CJ, Chris Jackson, Southern California product, and first half hats. You gonna give me one?
Stats.
First half stats, highlights, and of course, expert analysis by the one, the only, Artie Gigantino. Hey, sorry to see that your Raiders got DP.
I know, that was a tough one. At this time last week, I was down at the Super Bowl.
Here's our upcoming schedule for the Avengers. San Jose and the Bobbleheads next week. Photo Day will be coming up against Georgia.
That's the one I like.
Yeah,
right
Grand
there.
Rapids, good team, and the A-team calendars. Don't you like the A-team bobbleheads?
I didn't see that. I do. I like
no, you already made your decision. You got to stay with it. So April 13th, that's my day.
Okay.
Against Arizona.
And I can use my Avenger wig.
And by the way, Colorado now in the division and in the league, and we'll talk about that in a moment. McDonough scrambling, Chase throws. We will wait. Incomplete in the back of the end zone.
That was a battle for the football. As Horchek goes up and comes up, tries to get it, but J.J. Washington strips it out of his hands. That's called battling in the end zone for the football. You see McDonough again, a subtle scrambler. And you see 3 red shirts and 2 white shirts going up for the football.
I had to wait because there were 4 or 5 bodies. Plus, it could bounce off the backboard and still be alive.
Absolutely.
Was live for quite some time. And John DeWitt, give him credit again. He put the quarterback under duress. And now with 1:02 remaining in the first half. Remember, the timing changes at the 1-minute mark of each half. Hey fans, reserve your seats today for all the electrifying action of Avengers football. And you can get groups of 15 or more in here for a great low price, starting as low as $5. That's Gigantino type cash. Call 1-888-AVENGERS. That's 1-888-AVENGERS. Bring your group to see arena football. It's the only game in town. Fun, fast, furious.
And fan-friendly. Very fan-friendly. Now, here again, the Gladiators are going for it on 4th down. Something must be wrong with Vitatech because he has now missed a field goal, or PAT, excuse me, and they've gone for it now on 4th down twice with arguably the best kicker in the league. As we take a look at him, something must be wrong with him.
I think it's a tremendous respect also for the Avenger offense. I just think that Hagee thinks he's got to match him touchdown for touchdown. McDonough in trouble again, throws, touchdown, Horacek got open. Serwanga got lost a little bit defensively. And 4th down pays off again from the 4-yard line.
Whenever you give somebody that much time, and I'm not talking about the rush not being
2, 3, 4
there.
moves.
But this guy has done a nice job of subtly moving around. And again, he's a 5-flat 40-yard dasher, but he's got that ability. He reminds me a little bit of Rich Gannon in some ways, that he can sidestep the oncoming pressure.
I'll tell you how else he reminds me a little bit of Rich Gannon. The different delivery of the football. Over the top, side, slinging it.
What you really need in this league, maybe more than the outdoor game, because you're only talking about 25 yards of width in which you have to operate.
As a quarterback, you've got to be able to recognize things very quickly. It certainly helped Kurt Warner when he first went to the NFL, being able to get it out.
And to me, that's the best training ground for National Football League quarterback when they're playing in the Arena Football League, is it teaches them to get rid of the ball very quickly. That quick release, you got to have that quality in this league.
28-20, Avengers on top. Again, next home game will be next Sunday at noon. And we'll also have a promotion along with bobbleheads. Here's what we've got. If the team scores 50 points, everyone in the arena gets a coupon for a free famous star Carl's Jr. And the first 5,000 will get bobbleheads of TD. There you see him in action. So you cannot lose. It's the Arena Bowl champions. It's the first game on national television for the Avengers. You get to come to the sports capital of the world, Staples Center.
Well, that'll be a lot of fun.
And lots of promotions. Horacek's third touchdown catch of the day, 7 plays, 45 yards. Thank you, Doug Mann, our statistician extraordinaire, alongside us today. And again, on a 4th down, a conversion. Now Viditek will kick off for Las Vegas.
Now the rules, as you mentioned, changed now in the last minute of the half, the last minute of the game. It's outdoor rules in terms of stopping the clock.
Here's that onside kick. Oh! Up to get it is Damon Wheeler in great position. This is something that Ed Hotchkiss started really last year, and it's clock management. You want to get the clock back, and you also want to be able to get an opportunity on offense again, just in case you get it. So the shenanigans continue at the 12-yard line. Kind of like it.
And that's why you onside kick, like you said, because this is a possession game more than anything else. Now, this is not a bad kick by Viditek because the ball gets up in the air. But what happens is Andre Harris, number 8, stops and turns back to look for the ball instead of going up for the ball. The ball has still got to go 10 yards like it does in the outdoor game. So we take a look at number 3, Damon Wheeler, who recovered the onside kick in the air.
What they're figuring is if they don't get the onside kick, at least the Avengers are going to score quickly. In other words, we'll get the ball back even if they do put it in, and they won't be able to milk the rest of the half. But
now,
Vavao goes for maybe a yard.
Is he the biggest fullback to ever play in this league? I've never seen, in the 4 years I've been doing this, I've never seen a guy in the backfield bigger than him.
What bothers me is that you're asking the question because you're the man that should know everything.
I know I do,
He's
but
self-proclaimed all-purveyor of knowledge.
I mean, I used to yuck it up when I saw guys 260 and 270 and call them like refrigerators. But this guy is the freezer, if anything.
What did I hear on a show on the way up? I'll tell you in a moment. Here's a Vavao again. Somebody said that in the NFL, there's over 320 300-plus pounders now in the National Football League.
You know what? I think it's more than that. I think it's like 400.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
I know it's 300
it's plus. Yeah, it's like 387,
and it's
388.
Increased remarkably over the last couple of years.
Unbelievable. Hey, look at the Raiders, though. Their offensive line averages 330.
8 seconds remaining.
Now, you know, this was some unusual play calling here because you run it twice. So now what Ed Hotchkiss is saying, he's going to probably try for the end zone here. It's 3rd and about 4, 3rd and 5. Get into the end zone. If you don't make it, kick the field goal. We take a look at the Hotchkiss factor. The previous 2 years, 8 and 20, he shows up with this great offense and this energized attitude. They go 8 and 6.
So the time management game won here by Hotchkiss, the former offensive coordinator at Indiana. And you know, when you talk to the entire team, the one thing that really stands out is the organizational factor of Ed Hotchkiss, how everything is so planned out, practices, and they have a new facility, and just the whole attitude. And believe it or not, his first paid coaching job, he's over 32 years of age. 3rd down. They will take a shot at the end zone. Here's Graziani, back, throws, got a man, touchdown Jackson! He's also got the first half hat trick. 6 yards and a score, and there are just 4 seconds remaining in half number 1.
Well, that's the way you do it. And again, the mentality of what Ed Hotchkiss was thinking there was we are not going to let the Gladiators have the football. You run it twice, you throw it on 3rd down. Great job, obviously, by Jackson. Defender falls down again. The ball is perfectly thrown. You kick the PAT. There's 3 seconds left. You squib the kickoff. Game, set, match. Halftime ends, or halftime begins.
Hamilton matches his counterpart as he hits the post. So it is a 14-point game, 34-20. 4 seconds remaining. Quick drive, 3 plays, 11 yards after the failed onside kick.
And you know what, Bill? That's, to me, in my mind, is almost like a turnover. When you recover an onside kick like that, you get it deep in the opponent's territory. I used to count, as a defensive coach, that as almost being like a turnover. Now, this last touchdown here to CJ is just a great timing route. Again, the defender falls down, but look at the touch on the pass by Tony Graziani. Excellent, excellent touch.
Good first half by Tony Graziani. What an effervescent personality he is, from the University of Oregon. A little disappointed that the Ducks took a late season slide. You know, former NFL starter at times.
Yep,
also played in NFL Europe.
5 starts for the Atlanta Falcons, played in 18 games, and we were lamenting, so to speak, before the game about the Seattle Bowl, where Oregon got dumped, so to speak, by that powerhouse from the ACC, Wake Forest.
That was not a good showing. Running high, Ducks, running high. And they got beat basketball today by SC, crosstown. So everybody up now. Chris Jackson, phenomenal first half for the man they call CJ here in Los Angeles, 34-20. What you don't need here, obviously, is a big return, and the Avengers actually are going to call a timeout.
Now, Brent Witters is walking over to the sideline, and I think he's going to ask Ed Hotchkiss something, because they're going to change. Russell Shaw, number 2, is going to come into the game and take someone else's place. Obviously, they'd like a fleeter, faster receiver type to cover a kick on this particular situation. And Lazarius White, big offensive guard, leaves the game.
So making sure everything is covered, the Avengers now do not want to give up a late score here with just seconds remaining in the half. For the offense and for the Avengers, from 2001 to 2002, the improvement when Ed Hotchkiss took over. You know, he simplified things. You know, sometimes that sounds crazy to folks. You think if somebody has got such a great offensive mind, it's going to be this complicated scheme and all, but he wants the wide receivers not to think, just go out there and perform.
Well, they're averaging 12 points, 2 touchdowns, obviously, a game more. That's good coaching, but you know what else? He's taking advantage of the abilities of the players. CJ's a possession receiver, so is Hopkins. Make them possession receivers.
The clock will start now as Robinson touches it. Across the 10 to the 15, out of bounds as time expires. The horn sounds, and you know, Remy Hamilton, who's a good athlete, is down and hurt.
Well, that's what happens sometimes when a kicker tries to make the tackle. Now, Hamilton
does quite often,
and he does quite often, especially a year ago. But you hate to see that as a coach. Hey, you want your kickers to be tough guys. You want them to be able to tackle, but you hate to see them get hurt, obviously.
Take a break. When we come back, our halftime will commence. Good first half for the Avengers in game number 1 of 2003. They're on top 34-20. The choreographer is Denise Marie Jerome, and the unit is the award-winning A-Team Dancers, entertaining right now at halftime. And Chris Jackson has been a mainstay from day number 1 as one of the most popular and best players on the Avengers.
For 3 years, the play of Chris Jackson has given the Avenger faithful a reason to cheer.
End zone, Jackson. Does he have it? Yes. Chris Jackson is on it at the goal line, and here comes CJ. He may go. Chris Jackson's going to score. Touchdown, Avengers opening kickoff.
LA's all-time leading receiver and scorer, Chris Jackson is the story of a local boy done good. After a standout prep basketball career at Modern Day, Jackson had a stellar football career at Washington State, where in '97 he set the Cougar single-season record for touchdown receptions. After a cup of coffee in the NFL, Jackson soon found himself in the Arena Football League. Named AFL Rookie of the Year in the year 2000, Jackson's play over the next 2 years continued to be nothing short of spectacular.
Graziano, here comes the pressure. Here's the throw. Oh, Jackson's wide open, touchdown!
In 2002, CJ once again terrorized defensive backfields. Last year, he hauled in 85 balls for 28 touchdowns, despite a number of nagging injuries.
The broke wrist wasn't as bad, you know, that was just, you know, that's a football injury. You know, I put a cast on, missed 2 games, came back, started playing well again. And then the hamstring, it was the reoccurring hamstring injury that kind of frustrated me, you know, because it would heal up. They said, get back on the field, go. I'll go, end up pulling it again. So I kept my head up, and I just realized it was a long season, and we were making it to the playoffs, so I just had to rest myself and choose my times to go.
In just 33 career games, CJ has accounted for over 3,800 yards and 63 scores. And while LA's output over the last 3 seasons hasn't been as consistent as Johnson's, the addition of a new coach has resulted in a change of attitude.
Last year was a big year for us. You know, with the new coaching staff coming in, we all bought into a system, and you know, and it worked. You know, we started winning games, and we see that it's not very hard to stay, you know, 500 or above 500 as long as we just do and follow a system that he put in. So now we got to know that we got to take it to another level. We need certain players to step up at the right times when the big game counts, and we need to, you know, get beyond that level now.
With a fully recovered Chris Jackson in the lineup, don't be too surprised if CJ and the gang take that next step.
Great first half for Chris Jackson. 3 touchdown catches from Tony Graziani. It's 34-20. Back with more. Staples Center in a minute.
I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm becoming. But I know one thing for sure. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I will not be afraid of the dark.
I will not feel guilty leaving my dog alone.
I will know my children are safe.
I will finally be able to relax!
At ADT, we help more people feel safe in more ways than any other security company. A single ADT system can help protect your home and family from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide for as little as $99. Plus, save up to 20% off your homeowner's insurance. Call 1-800-ADT-ASAP.
In competition, injuries happen. It's part of the game. And to get back your level of performance takes a lot of hard work, discipline, and the best health care. Health South is the nation's leading provider of outpatient diagnostic, surgery, and rehabilitation services. So we can help you get back fast to the action, the competition, and the glory. We know your body. We understand your spirit. We get you back.
I am a soldier, an army of one. Even though I am part of the strongest army in the world, I am my own force. With the latest technology, training, and support, who I am has become better than who I was. And I'll be the first to tell you, the might of the U.S. Army doesn't lie in numbers. It lies in soldiers like me. Specialist Mark DeCarly. I am an army of one, and you can see my strength.
It's official. Nuggets cannot be found on chickens. Chicken breast strips from Carl's Jr. Because chickens don't have nuggets.
The Artie Gigantino Fan Club here today in force. It's time now for our universal trivia question. All right, Artie. Who owns the single-season AFL record for most touchdowns? Do you know? Do you know? Do you know?
In my studies prior to this game, I had that answered. Mike Horacek from the Gladiators.
Horacek. 46 touchdowns for the Barnstormers of Iowa in the year 2000, and for that effort, he was voted the AFL Offensive Player of the Year. When we come back, Artie will break down half number 1.
Hi, I'm your new satellite system.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of equipment.
Oh, this isn't the half of it.
Looks weird.
It's ugly.
I heard that.
We'd like to watch the big game tonight.
It's supposed to be a doozy. Sorry. Local channels are extra.
We want to switch back to cable.
Gee, I'd like to help you, but you actually signed the contract. That was your big mistake.
Don't let satellite into your home. Instead, upgrade to cable. Call 1-800-800-CABLE now.
Well, so much for good reception.
In competition, injuries happen. It's part of the game. And to get back your level of performance takes a lot of hard work, discipline, and the best health care. Health South is the nation's leading provider of outpatient diagnostic, surgery, and rehabilitation services. So we can help you get back fast to the action, the competition, and the glory. We know your body. We understand your spirit. We get you back.
What if you had the chance to be God for 1 week? What would you do? This Memorial Day, let there be light. The guy next door gets his shot at being the man upstairs.
Sam?
Jim Carrey.
They saw that it was good.
Bruce Almighty.
College basketball on Fox Sports Net 2. UCLA looks for revenge against a Trojan team looking for the season sweep. Wednesday on Fox Sports Net 2. This is your chance to be part of the madness. The Pac-10 tourney returns in March to Staples Center in Los Angeles. Tickets are going fast. For more information, log on to www.pac-10.org or call Ticketmaster.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Introducing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The only show that takes you inside the world of extreme sports each and every weeknight.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The breaking news, event highlights, and inside features you won't find anywhere else. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Weeknights on Fox Sports Net.
It is halftime. We're live on Fox Sports Net 2, Staples Center. I'm Bill Macdonald. It's 34-20. The Avengers on top of the Gladiators of Las Vegas. And I hand it over to my partner, Artie, for highlights.
Tony Graziani drops back, finds his favorite target, Chris Jackson. Avengers up 7-zip. Jay McDonough comes back, finds his favorite target, number 1, Mike Horacek, touchdown. But guess what? Graziani again to Chris Jackson. We go into halftime, 34-20. It's all about the passing game, but you know, statistics sometimes lie. Right now, Las Vegas has more total yardage and more passing yards than the LA Avengers and more time of possession. But you know what? Touchdowns, Bill Macdonald, are what count in this game. Stats are basically even, but obviously the Avengers are 14 points up on the scoreboard.
Our first half stats brought to you by the Daily News. Take a break. We shall return, and when we do, both teams will be making their way back out. We'll have the third quarter for you from Staples Center. Big first half for Tony Graziani and the Avenger team. They're on top 34-20, and Artie alluded to some rule changes that were implemented for the 2003 season, and we talked to Doug Kay about what he thinks the impact will be.
Well, certainly the offside is going to affect, the rule changes were built for the offense initially anyhow, and I said that I would never say that, of course, but they have been, and then the offside penalties and the spot penalties for defensive interference are going to be things that are going to have a direct impact on the game.
And what he's talking about there, now if a defensive player is offsides, it's an automatic first down. It's no longer a 5-yard penalty. I think that's a poor change, because if it's 3rd and 25 and some poor defensive lineman jumps offside, it's a first down. The other thing that is interesting, so many times in the past, we've seen receivers go in motion, stop at the line of scrimmage, and freeze to draw defenders offsides. That is no longer legal. You can no longer use freeze motion. And the pass interference penalties are also, I think, a move towards a positive direction, Bill, because now if a defender intentionally grabs a receiver and interferes with him, it's at the spot of the foul, whereas unintentional pass interference is just a 10-yard penalty. So I don't like the offsides. I kind of like the other, though, in terms of improvements in the game.
We'll see if it grows on you. Now, a reminder that football and golf collide when your Avengers teed up on March the 3rd at Mountain Gate Country Club. It's the 2nd annual Avengers golf outing. Coach Hopkins and the team will be out there, And it'll be all for the Malibu Foundation for Youth and Families. For more information, there's that phone number again, 1-888-AVENGERS. If you golf, let's tee it up with the Avengers. Gorgeous Mountain Gate Country Club, second annual on March the 3rd. Here we go, get set for quarter number 3. The Gladiators won the toss at the beginning of the game. They deferred, so they'll get their hands on the football here to start the second half.
For the last 3 years since we've been doing these games, we've always discussed, and we discussed it in our production meetings too, how important the first drive, for both teams, of the second half is. Because what that does, that kind of sets the tempo for the rest of the game. And it'll be interesting to see what adjustments the Gladiators did make at halftime.
Hamilton, who was knocked at the end of the first half into the boards, delivers to Robinson, and he stretches out to the 17-yard line, and that is where we will begin the third quarter. And McDonough, who at one point himself in the first half hobbled off after being just ripped down to the turf. There's Jay's numbers in the first half, 183, great amount.
And you know what, though? The 17 is not indicative of how well he's played. 4 of those were drops, especially early in the first quarter.
And he's made a lot of things happen.
Yes, he has.
Been able to dance around the pocket and outside of the pocket to buy some time. McDonough, there's that drop over the middle, crossing, and it's caught to Williams, or complete to Williams. He's in Avenger territory to the 18-yard line. They'll move the chains for the Las Vegas Gladiators, residing in the desert but playing in the Eastern Division. That's a 15-yard game.
And you're going to see Doug Kay's defense play a lot of zone. They played some zone in the first half. That was a zone defense that particular time, which is why Williams was wide open underneath. Zone is a good changeup in this league. You can't use it all the time.
Well, he said you got to play hard, collision, turnovers. That's what it's all about. We always say, and we've talked about that many times, and so do the coaches, schemes are overrated in the indoor game.
Well, you know what? You don't have enough room. That's why. I mean, with the 25-yard width, you don't have enough room. We talked about Doug Kay before. Great addition to this Avenger program and coaching staff.
Spent some time at UCLA.
Yeah, spent some time at UCLA. He was a good recruiter for UCLA. Spent a lot of time at Hawaii, University of Hawaii. 2 Arena Bowl championship rings. 1 with Tampa Bay, 1 with Arizona.
McDonough, the motion man, will be Williams on the outside to the left. He'll throw to the short man, Robinson. He dances down the sideline, close
to come
the
on,
chains.
Rap.
And, it looks like he's going to benefit from a good spot and another first down.
Yeah,
there's a key first drive, as you mentioned.
Excuse me, Bill, but the Gladiators are making this thing look a little bit too easy here in the opening drive here. You're going to take McDonough, just rifles the ball outside, and then Robinson just gets up the field, gets another 7 or 8 yards based on rack.
And you can see neither team with much of a run game. They're developing and they're relying on the pass. Here's McDonough again, short, Horacek, and he's crowd out of bounds by 2 or 3. In fact, last year, the Avengers, they gave up quite a few yards on the ground, about 25 per game. That was one of the worst in the league.
You know what, though? But the Gladiators aren't even trying to run the ball.
Not at all.
I'm not even sure if they have an attempt yet today. So they make no bones about it that their fullbacks are blockers. And a little bit like the Avengers are starting to do this year, they're throwing it more, running it less. Because remember, Chad Dukes was the fullback a year ago. He chunked out some pretty good yardage.
It's all about max protect. Coming from the end, around, touchdown.
As I say that,
Cedric Robinson.
They handed off on a reverse to Robinson, but it was not a running play to the running back. It was a reverse run around sweep as you see McDonough turn and just hand it off. It's like a bob sweep that they run in the National Football League. Nice changeup by Frank Hagee.
Cedric's got the Jets, quickest player on the team. He will now do a little double duty and hold for Viditek. Steve, the AFL kicker of the year. He puts it right through the wickets. And our game now is a 7-point contest on the ground. We'll change of pace, 34-27.
Hi, I'm your new satellite system.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of equipment.
Oh, this isn't the half of it.
Looks
weird.
It's ugly.
I heard that. We'd like to watch the big game tonight.
It's supposed to be a doozy. Sorry. Local channels are extra.
We want to switch back to cable.
Gee, I'd like to help you, but you actually signed the contract. That was your big mistake.
Don't let satellite into your home. Instead, upgrade to cable. Call 1-800-800-CABLE now.
Well, so much for good reception.
What if you had the chance to be God for 1 week? What would you do? This Memorial Day, let there be light. The guy next door gets his shot at being the man upstairs.
Sam?
Jim Carrey.
And he saw that it was good.
Bruce Almighty.
Avengers Arena Football demonstrated by Kurt Warner and John Elway. Avengers quarterbacks pass almost every play. Score so high, you'll need oxygen. Running for the sidelines? What sidelines? And the field, only 50 yards long. Want to see it all for yourself? Call 888-AVENGERS and get your tickets today.
The Avengers versus the SaberCats, Sunday at noon in Staples Center. Call 888-AVENGERS.
Remember, next week we're giving away bobbleheads. First 5,000 got the Avenger flags to put on their car, or wherever else they might like to put it. So some happy fans and youngsters. By the way, we talked about it before. If you're into extreme sports, you want to get a taste of it. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Williamson, Towersey, and Tweeden are your hosts each and every day for news, highlights, features. You're not going to find it anywhere else. Say bye-bye to Leanne. There she goes. It's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This will be a touchback and out to the 5-yard line, and the first set of downs offensively for the Avengers here in the second half.
And that's the perfect place to put a kickoff if you can possibly do it in that space between the crossbar and the right. It's the perfect place right in here somewhere, because then the ball will just go sneak on down. It's very difficult for the receiving team and the return man to catch the ball off that, because you never know how it's going to come down. There's a skill to that.
Tony Graziani with the added confidence this year. Brings the Avengers up to the line. Jackson in motion from his own end zone. The long throw. Jackson, touchdown, Avengers! Whoa! 45 big yards. And Artie, I mentioned the long throw. Perfect, running under it and putting some air in between.
Couldn't have been any better than that. And I'll tell you, Chris Jackson just runs right down the field on a streak route. Graziani is looking the entire way for big number 81, and he runs right past number 9, Damon Mason, who is an all-arena league candidate as a defensive specialist.
You know, the first 6 games last year, first half dozen before he got hurt, Jackson was averaging 4.5 touchdowns and 177 yards a game. Tonight, 4 touchdowns and 129 yards in this game, and we're only 5 minutes into the third quarter. He's amazing. He's a former AFL Rookie of the Year.
I will not be afraid of the dark.
I will not feel guilty leaving my dog alone.
I will know my children are safe.
I will finally be able to relax!
At ADT, we help more people feel safe in more ways than any other security company. A single ADT system can help protect your home and family from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide for as little as $99. Plus, save up to 20% off your homeowner's insurance. Call 1-800-ADT-ASAP.
Chickens have breasts, wings, and thighs. But no one has ever found the nuggets on a chicken.
It's not there either.
Chicken breast strips from Carl's Jr. Because chickens don't have nuggets.
I am a soldier. An army of one. Even though I am part of the strongest army in the world, I am my own force. With the latest technology, training, and support, who I am has become better than who I was. And I'll be the first to tell you, the might of the U.S. Army doesn't lie in numbers. It lies in soldiers like me, Specialist Mark DeCarli. I am an army of one, and you can see my strength.
An excellent look as the spirit continues in Los Angeles. Avengers on top 41-27. Just coming right back and matching whenever Vegas pulls ever closer. And now Hamilton will boot it away. Remy, 6 feet, 190. Really has established himself.
Out of bounds.
Except for that one, just as we wax poetic, out of bounds it goes. All right, Artie. This is your time to look smart as we give your keys to the season.
I think when you look at this football team, they've got to make the next move defensively. That's why they brought in Doug Kay, Mike Uefali. They've tried to improve their defense. To win the championship, they must. They got to spread the ball around a little bit more. We know about Jackson, we know about Hopkins, but Burley's got to become a big receiver in this offense. And last and not least, they've got to score more in the kicking game and on defense, more non-offensive touchdowns.
First down, more on the season after this play. McDonough going down the middle, has a man caught down to the 1-yard line. Jeremy Wilkinson. And it'll be first down and goal.
You know, going back to the season, you got to be able to improve on things. And now, again, we're talking about improvement on defense here. You got to be able to make this play if you're Kevin Ingram. Now we take another look at it. Wilkinson just runs a crossing route that that Ingram has got to be able to close in on.
29 yards on the gain. First down and a little quick movement. And this should go against Vegas as Jamar Ward went quickly, and then McDonough finds himself on his wallet. Crowd got a kick out of that, but flags are down.
Jamar Ward's a big guy, 6'4", about 340 pounds. Morningside, Iowa is where he went to school.
Giving disconcerting signals on the defense. Half the distance to the goal.
A quick note on the season as this goes against the Avengers, it'll move about a foot closer. You know, we have 16 teams, 16 games, and the Avengers play in probably the toughest division in all of the AFL, the West, although they got a break with Dallas moving out and the expansion crush moving in, because Dallas was a team on the rise.
Well, you talk about that a year ago. Remember, San Jose was the first seed in the playoffs, Arizona second, Los Angeles fifth, and Dallas was eighth.
All right, McDonough's in the end zone. An ugly-looking play, effective if you're the Gladiators, but flags are down all over the place again.
Illegal motion.
And this will be motion against Vegas. So, a touchdown not allowed. This will move back as Hagee perplexed.
And you know what? It's not a bad penalty, because what it does, it gives you a little bit more room in which to throw the ball. Frank Hagee is a rising star like Ed Hotchkiss is in the Arena Football League. Only 3 penalties tonight for Vegas, only 1 for the Avengers.
You know, he's a player's coach, but we were told something before the game, which is interesting. A strict disciplinarian. He does not allow profanity in his locker room. He wants his players to be ultimate gentlemen. Artie would never get a lock to a locker. Here's one thrown away, and I'm talking really thrown away. They're going to get one in about the 12th row in the corner here at Staples Center. What about that, though? I mean, hey, that's a little different perspective when you're talking football.
You know,
you've been around it your whole life.
I know, but you know what? I don't like those things. And again, this guy's done a great job. He's a very good young coach. But when you waste your time worrying about the language of some of your players, to me, you're putting your efforts in a useless, in my view, direction. You know, the guy at Vanderbilt did that last year, the coach at Vanderbilt, and that didn't help Vanderbilt win any more games. It's nice, but I mean, in Las Vegas, you can't swear in the locker room. Oh, damn it! Come on.
McDonough throwing, overthrows his man. Good pass rush again. Ford was there. Carlos Fowler was also there, and he was the one that put McDonough down. And it'll be third down. So what was a first and goal on the 1, the Avengers are looking good here for a possible stop. It's third down now at the 5.
Well, I didn't agree with that first down call, the bootleg. That's not a good play in this league, especially because there's no width on the field, and especially because the Avenger defensive line and defensive end, in that case, has done a great job of getting up the field.
Trips on the right. Horacek He's the man over the middle. He's the first option. He's not there. Macdonald will run. He's cutting to the outside. He's in for the touchdown. Made a good move on Serwanga, and then flags again are flying. So the tempo of this game has slowed down considerably with the penalties. This is going to be after the fact, and the touchdown should stand as McDonough again making something out of nothing.
The touchdown is good. After the score, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 16.
And the quarterback's going to get called for unsportsmanlike conduct. I
10 yards.
did not see the tail end of the play, what he did with the football, what he did with the fans and or the Avengers.
Well, we'll take a look now. He's got elusiveness, so to speak, in his scrambling. This guy is not fast, but he's got subtle scrambling ability. And he throws it down. You can't do that because you can spike the ball in the Arena Football League, but you can't throw it. And that's what he did. Not a very intelligent move by supposedly a smart guy.
Two quick things. The extra point now back to the 20-yard line, and I want to get Serwanga off the hook. That was Ingram who he beat into the end zone, not Waswell. All right, that extended PAT is good by Viditek. And the score is 41-34, 6.5 to play in the third.
Nice shot. All day. You reach, I teach you. Bet you won't score again. I won't score again? How you like that rainbow? That's ugly. Could have done. You should have done. Hey, Mike. What? Who's got next?
Ándale, no me vayas a... ¡Ay! Puntas de acero. ¿Qué te crees? ¿Que soy pelota? Espérate, espérate. No. ¿Qué? ¿Ahora soy un back? Ahora a mí me toca.
A guy in the corner, big producer. What's his name?
I don't know.
You sure it's not written there? Ooh, my agent.
Life's good when you're Eric McCormick.
Hey, it's me. That producer we had that meeting with last week. What's his name?
It's Max Hoffman.
Max Hoffman. Thank you very much.
But life's better when you're Eric McCormick and you have the cell phone with a walkie-talkie. Get right through. Nextel.
Gladiators hanging in. It's 41-34. Avengers on top in the season opener for 2003. USC and UCLA. They go at it all season long. The Lexus Gauntlet Trophy, but we've got college basketball for the Crosstown Showdown on Fox Sports Net Wednesday at 7:30. USC big win today. You'll hear more about that on the Southern California Sports Report. Bruins in ruins, if you will, just trying to make the Pac-10 tournament. And on the kickoff, after the 4-play, 30-yard scoring drive for Vegas, the Avengers will have it just short of the 10-yard line. Next week, against San Jose here, for the Gladiators, next week they are at Arizona, and then their home opener at the Thomas & Mack, for you folks watching us in Las Vegas, is against Tampa Bay on February the 13th.
And you know, Las Vegas will be a good home venue for the Gladiators. A lot of good sports fans, obviously, in the city of Las Vegas. Easy to get to the Thomas Mack Arena. I think it's a great move for them to go there. Should be an excellent franchise over there.
Hopkins, who's been relatively quiet tonight, reaches down to make that catch. Hopkins, the numbers are staggering after you put them together. Over the last 3 years, 315 catches and over 500 now for his career. Last year, his top game, 13 for 162 yards and 5 scores against Grand Rapids. Again, Graziani steps up, throws. Hopkins again. That's 2 in a row. Oh, no, juggling out of bounds. And Hoppy is hopping mad about that one. We'll come back second down. By the way, if you're in the car at home and you just want to turn in and tune in to Avenger football. How about Extra Sports, the Superstation? 690-1150 with Smiley Khan and Ed Cunningham, the new radio team, and it's the new flagship station of the LA Avengers.
Why do you guys call him Smiley?
That's just a long-time nickname.
Because he
for Larry.
smiles so much?
Just
happy guy? Happy guy?
He's sitting like 4 feet from you.
I know. I should go ask him.
Here's Graziani. Throws again. Caught. Good play by Jackson. Chris Jackson, the sprawling catch, showing the great hands.
You know, when a receiver goes down like that to catch the ball at a lower trajectory, it's impossible to defend. And that time, Jackson times it perfectly as the ball takes off a little bit from him, but he reaches out and makes the play.
You know what also helped Jackson last year? The switch to offensive specialist.
Absolutely.
Just concentrate on
and
the
not
O.
playing any defense. I agree with that. Because the offensive specialist, other than the quarterback, is, quote, the most important player on the offensive team.
With 4:20, Tony Pollard is going to score. Touchdown for the big fella. I'm going to preface this by saying this. There is a note in the media notes proclaiming any time that a tight end catches a football, it's now the Artie Gigantino memorial stat. Not like you're going anywhere, you're gone, but you love talking about throwing the ball to the tight end.
Tight ends and fullbacks. Nobody ever covers them. And in this particular case, you catch the screen outside, you get one shield block, touchdown. Now, a year ago, the Avenger tight ends caught 10 passes for 112 yards. That's 11.2 yards per catch. To me, it is the most underused play in the entire Arena Football League.
That's the Artie Gigantino stat. It's been aptly named when the tight end catches and rumbles and Plant's got to score.
If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. The new double chili burger and chili cheese fries at Carl's Jr.
I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm becoming. But I know one thing for sure. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
To 34, and the Avengers counter right back. By the way, the best website from the AFL belongs to your hometown Avengers. Get on board, laavengers.com, the Cyber Avenger e-newsletter, and what Artie looks for each and every week, news and notes from the A-team. That's on laavengers.com. Hamilton will kick off. Williams is now the deep man. 4 plays, 41 yards, capped off 17 yards. Graziani to the tight end, Tony Plant. Williams out of the end zone. Trying to move left. And he's wrestled down by Sia Burley. And Burley's played a lot of OS, but he's playing a little more defense the last 2 years.
You know, you were talking about the Avenger website and all the things that they do off the football field. You know, between Casey Wasserman, the owner, and Todd Mirko, the president and CEO, Mirko last year was named the Arena Football League Executive of the Year. They've got great leadership. I think they have a vision, and they're doing all the right things in building not a solid foundation, but a very, very concrete foundation of this franchise.
McDonough back to pass, throws over the middle, caught. Horacek. And down he goes at the 21 of the Avengers. Back to Casey just for a moment, at the head of this football franchise. You know, it's difficult for Casey to do any kind of an interview when he wants to go out and promote the Avengers without getting asked about the NFL, because he, of course, is front and center trying to somehow bring football, professional NFL football, back to Los Angeles. So he's very busy. But you mentioned Todd. He's put really the Bakersfield franchise and this franchise in Todd's hands, and that's his responsibility.
Right, and it's all good. And like I said, what do you think of the new uniforms? You know, a year ago there were blue pants.
I think there'll be different combinations throughout the year.
Do you like them?
Sure.
Good looking. Look a little bit like the Buffalo Bills. It's a darker blue.
Very Spider-Man-ish.
Yes.
Just you know, coming up on a you know, just trying to take advantage of the movie of the year last year, and it pleases our producer Dave Frederick to no end, who has his own Spider-Man outfit and wears it on most occasions when he goes out in the South Bay. 48-34, time winding down in the third quarter. We hope you're enjoying it. It is a scary thought. This is game 1 of 16. The Arena Bowl will take place on the 22nd of June. The stakes are high for both these teams. Nothing short of an appearance there, and it would be a disappointment. Throw, touchdown! McDonough rifles one in, and Williams has the score, and Vegas comes right back. But we have a flag at the line of scrimmage, so hold on. But the way the Gladiators are reacting, illegal defense, it's going to be a touchdown. With a minute 12 remaining here in the third.
The defense, the violation on defense was Lonnie Ford, number 25, was out of the linebacker box in his coverage. Unless the quarterback pump fakes, the linebackers must stay in the linebacker box. Quarterback McDonough that time did not pump fake, but Ford got a little bit too much width.
Viditek, he has it, North Carolina State product, and it's 48-41. We'll look at it again, the throw by Jay McDonough.
Well, you see Williams come down the field now. He runs just a deep in across the middle. Russell Shaw says, hey, where's my help on this? Again, one of the things you've got to do and you got to do well in this league is execute the crossing patterns.
Jay McDonough, he was a nice success story last year. You know, going into last season, everybody figured it was Glenn Foley's gig from BC, and McDonough unseated him and just went out and had a sensational
But you know what?
year.
He comes from with Frank Hagee from the Quad City Steamrollers in the Arena Football League too.
Steam Wheelers.
Steam Wheelers, excuse me. I thought they were the Rollers.
No, the Steam
Wheelers. Okay, the Quad City team. So they know each other. This is like a quarterback and a coach exactly along the same mental wavelengths. And you can see that they talk all the time during the game. And, you know, as time goes on this year, they get themselves back in their rhythm. This will be a franchise to be reckoned with.
They had a 19-0 championship season with McDonough at the helm in 2000. Actually, with Hagee as the coach in Quad City, he was a combined 37-1, so he doesn't often taste defeat in arena football. Viditek will drive into it. We're under a minute to play in the third quarter. Fumbling and stumbling and coming out with it is Russell Shaw. He's got some road, and he stumbles down at the 21-yard line. You know, I don't think he was touched.
You know what? He wasn't. Viditek tried to trip him, but sometimes when the return man fumbles the ball.
Let's see if he's touched, though. Otherwise, it should not have been whistled dead.
Right, you're correct about it. But sometimes when they return the ball and they fumble a little bit, the coverage declares itself. Now, you're going to see right there, it does not look like he was touched. Now, there is not instant replay in the Arena Football League. You see him again. Russell Shaw picks up the ball. He breaks up the field. It does not look like any contact. Well, maybe.
Oh, he tripped. It would have been a penalty.
It should have been a penalty for tripping.
Either a touchdown for not being touched. If he did trip him, it should be extra yardage. So a blown call. Here's Graziani to Shaw. He didn't get the block he wanted to from Jackson, but making room, and down he goes at the 17-yard line in a very late flag.
It's a
Which
face
you're going to get for a face mask.
Exactly right. And Russell Shaw, we talked about him earlier in the broadcast, hasn't seen much action today. All of a sudden, gets beat on a touchdown pass, does a nice job on a kickoff return, and now catches a pass for 10-plus yards.
Russell was part of the '97 National Championship team, and he was a 2-year starter at El Camino College here in Southern California.
On the play.
High school,
The
no
tackler grabbed him by the top of the helmet.
Rock High School, downtown L.A. That's a poor call by the official. I believed his face mask was grabbed on that.
Well, his helmet was, or the top of the helmet. I'm not sure. I couldn't tell from here because this is a much better angle. Is it the top of the helmet or is it the actual face mask?
It's the top of the helmet.
Top of the helmet.
I stand corrected.
Horn sounds, quarter over. We've written 3 chapters in this one. Good game to start this AFL season, and the Avengers in front of a big opening night home crowd on top, 48-41, fourth and final coming your way in a moment.
Hi, I'm your new satellite system.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of equipment.
Oh, this isn't the half of it.
Looks weird.
It's ugly.
I heard that.
We'd like to watch the big game tonight.
It's supposed to be a doozy. Sorry. Local channels are extra.
We want to switch back to cable.
Gee, I'd like to help you, but you actually signed the contract. That was your big mistake.
Don't let satellite into your home. Instead, upgrade to cable. Call 1-800-800-CABLE now.
Well, so much for good reception.
I am a soldier. An army of one. Even though I am part of the strongest army in the world, I am my own force. With the latest technology, training, and support, who I am has become better than who I was. And I'll be the first to tell you, the might of the U.S. Army doesn't lie in numbers. It lies in soldiers like me. Specialist Mark DeCarly. I am an army of one, and you can see my strength.
The best damn sports show, period. Sports television like you've never seen it before.
4 idiots sitting around talking sports. Great television.
Hang with the fellas. Cut loose with the stars.
What the hell has this got to do with sports?
Finally, a sports show that gets the picture. The best damn sports show, period. Weeknights on Fox Sports Net.
The storm is coming. Thunder, lightning, and metal. Now, racing's greatest drivers
You believe
compete on NASCAR's legendary track. The Daytona 500 returns this month, only on Fox.
Sportsnet 2 has presented Avengers Arena Football, brought to you by Universal, the world's largest movie studio and theme park. The City of Angels and the A-team between the 3rd and 4th already settled down and settled in. We're getting ready for the final 15 minutes. Hope to see you out here next Sunday to enjoy yourselves just
He doesn't
like
look like the A-team, this guy.
Yeah, but he has a fine appreciation of what they do.
He doesn't have great rhythm. I'll tell you, I got better rhythm than that guy.
Oh, my. Okay, we're going to put you up to task later in the season. I guarantee you. Here's Graziani. Throwing, sidearm, bad throw, penalty down, intercepted. Hopkins will tackle also, but will check the flag. Mason, one of the best DSs, if not the best, defensive specialist in the league with the pick, but we must check the flag.
It's going to be defensive pass interference, I believe. The question here now is whether it was intentional or inadvertent. If it's inadvertent, it's 10 yards. If it's intentional, it's at the spot of the foul.
You know, one way or another, we get to talk about Mason, who has 18 career interceptions and is closing in on 500 career stops, which is a milestone reached by only 2 other players.
Defense, number
Barry
9.
Wagner of
10
San
yards
Jose,
from
who
the
you know
previous
very
spot.
well, and Daryl
Automatic
Hammond
first down.
of Georgia.
And it was intentional, quote, by the interpretation of the official, so that means it's at the point of foul. That's a good call by the officials here, as you see Mason come up and just grab Hopkins. That's an indication right there of why they put the rule in, because so many times a year ago, Bill, when a receiver beat a defender would just reach out, grab him, and it would only be a 10-yard foul. So that was done to prevent the pull-down type foul.
How about the Avengers? Just 1 penalty. That was a bugaboo. That was a bugaboo for quite a good portion of last season. Play smart, play hard. That's the mantra of Coach Hotchkiss, and they're playing definitely smart here today. Here's Graziani over the middle, caught, trying to get into the end zone. Number 5 for Jackson.
You talk about determination. You talk about want to. You You talk about a guy giving great effort to get the ball into the end zone. Chris Jackson is a great example of that, and he shows young players out there how to get the ball into the end zone by not giving up. A stop route, makes the catch, runs right through the arms of Harris and gets into the end zone.
A couple of years ago, Chris had a look-see with the Titans. This past year with the Packers, in fact, had an opportunity to play during a game on special teams at Lambeau Field, and just the experience of being on the same field as the great Brett Favre, an appreciation for football in the National Football League.
That's hard to do. That's hard to do. That's hard to do.
Is it something? We'll answer that question in a minute.
Hi, I'm your new satellite system.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of equipment.
Oh, this isn't the half of it.
Looks weird.
It's ugly.
I heard that.
We'd like to watch the big game tonight.
It's supposed to be a doozy. Sorry, local channels are extra.
We want to switch back to cable.
Gee, I'd like to help you, but you actually signed the contract. That was your big mistake.
Don't let satellite into your home. Instead, upgrade to cable. Call 1-800-800-CABLE now.
Well, so much for good reception.
Avengers Arena Football demonstrated by Kurt Warner and John Elway. Avengers quarterbacks pass almost every play. Score so high, you'll need oxygen. Running for the sidelines? What sidelines? And the field, only 50 yards long. Want to see it all for yourself? Call 888-AVENGERS and get your tickets today.
The Avengers versus the Sabercats, Sunday at noon in Staples Center. Call 888-AVENGERS.
If it doesn't get all over the place, it doesn't belong in your face. The new double chili burger and chili cheese fries at Carl's Jr.
Lots and lots to talk about here. 54-41, but first, want to remind you that coming up tonight, this is the Southern California Sports Report. We've got a half hour for you. Some points we're going to be hitting post-game from right here. The Trojans in action on the hardwood, and a recap of the NHL All-Star Game. Paul Correa was there. Matthew Schneider was there. Sandis Ozolinsh, new duck, there. And Melissa wishes that she was there. No, she wants to be here, standing with her Avengers. And off the net, Williams, this is a live football, and is he outside? No, he fell on it just inside the line, so it's coming out to the 5.
Another vivid example of how difficult it is at times to field the ball off the nets. It's a foreign skill. It's not something you learn in high school. You and I do it all the time before games. The ball comes down differently on each and every kick. A very easy thing to observe, very difficult to execute.
Lots of numbers to talk about here. 2 plays, 29 yards, just over a minute, capped off by the 9-yard touchdown pass, Graziani to Jackson. More on Jackson after this play. McDonough, good percentage up till that throw, 25 for 37, 279 with 4 scores and just 1 interception.
I will say this, though, in McDonough's defense, that was the 6th drop today, and probably the 7th or 8th incomplete pass that was indeed catchable.
And for the moment, to close a thought on Jackson, Chris Jackson, 8 catches, 152 yards and 5 touchdowns. Deja vu from last year. In the opener against New York, he had 12 catches, 145 yards, and 5 touchdowns. So a similar super start to the season for Chris Jackson. McDonough buying time, throws, got his man, run after catch time. Here we go. Out to the 23-yard line. That is Cedric Robinson, 18 yards near midfield, and they'll move the chains for Las Vegas again. Trying to come back. Every score in this second half by the Avengers, the Gladiators have matched.
And the Gladiators go with the no-huddle concept here to try to keep the Avengers, back on their heels a little bit.
Jay McDonough underneath again. Sirwanga, a lot of underneath throws here today. Both D-backs on both teams playing very high, as they say.
Yeah, high and loose. And one of the negatives about playing man-to-man, and we saw that on the play before with Robinson, cutting back, is there's no pursuit because everybody's turning and running with their men and keeping their eyes on them.
Second down and 6. 11 and a half remaining. Clock is moving. 54-41 Avengers on top here in the season opener. Williams is the motion man. McDonough, good protection again. Throws, caught. Robinson, 11-yard line as he just outran Sirwanga.
And you know, you talk about toughness in a quarterback. That time McDonough did not see the ball caught because he got knocked down on his rear end again, and he had pressure in his face and people all over him. This guy hangs in the pocket like some of the big-time quarterbacks we talk about that play on Sunday afternoons.
Remember, you mentioned it right at the top that he's a former boxer, so he can dance around that ring and even do the rope-a-dope if he needs to, whatever it takes back in that pocket.
And in all my career, I've never heard of a quarterback being a boxer also.
And he will throw. Quick drop, backpedaling over the middle, threads it, and knocked away. Boy, the combination that time of Wheeler and Ingram and the sandwich between Horacek results in an incompletion.
It's called closing on the football, and McDonough didn't get much mustard on that ball. The ball sort of floats, which allows Wheeler and allows Ingram to close on the ball. I blame that one on the quarterback there. You got to get more zip on the football. Sensational play, though. Sensational by Ingram.
Defensively, the Avengers looking for somebody to take charge, a general in the back that can make a lot of calls and close and read like that. More on that after the second down play. McDonough in trouble, throws, caught, and out of bounds.
Well, look no further than number 3.
Yeah, case in point. You know, talking to Doug Kay earlier, he was also talking about how he thinks safeties from the outdoor game translate to better defensive backs in the arena game than cornerbacks do, because they have to view the whole field, and there's so much to see and do here. You can't just lock on one guy,
right,
like corners get accustomed to in the outdoor
game.
And
a lot of switches. And we talked about Doug Kay. He's got experience at the professional level on the outdoor game, the collegiate level outside, and obviously the indoor game.
McDonough, little too high, little too hard, incomplete. Fourth down.
That's the only thing I don't like about this guy. He's inconsistent in his touch. That's the type of pass he should have thrown 2 passes before, and it would have been a touchdown. Take the mustard, take the trajectory, take the velocity off of that pass, and that probably would have been a touchdown.
And a commonplace occurrence going for it on fourth down. We haven't seen many field goal attempts. It's all about going for it on their feet at Staples Center. 4th and 6. Horacek in motion. McDonough batted down, intercepted. Hopkins has it back to the 20 to the 21-yard line, and the Avengers have held.
And you know what? You talk about Johnny on the spot. A year ago, he picked off 5. He's the leader in the history of the Arena Football League with 8 interceptions returned for touchdowns. He's the Iron Man of the year. He always comes up with the big play.
They call his position the jack linebacker, and he is the best maybe to ever play that position in the 17 years of this league.
And you know why he's a good jack linebacker? Because he's got feel. The jack linebacker is responsible for covering the tight end and or the fullback. But when they don't come out, you see Hopkins right there, he's responsible for eyeing up the quarterback, and he does as good a job as anybody right there of jumping up and taking the ball out of mid-flight.
He was tied for the team high with Ingram, 5 interceptions last year. That's the second turnover for Vegas. The Avengers have not turned the ball over at all. Graziani, pump fake, fumbled. He nearly turned it over there, but he falls on it at the 15-yard line. Now, Tony only threw 9 interceptions all last year, opposed to his 67 touchdowns.
And here's what the Avengers have got to do here, Bill. Now, you got to start thinking about the clock. Take your time. Use the entire allotment of 25 seconds in between plays. There's 7 minutes and 51 seconds left in the game. You want to chew up as much of that as possible. Both teams have 3 timeouts left. but you still got to worry about the clock.
A field goal would still only make it a two-score game, 16 points. That would be a couple of touchdowns and a couple of two-point conversions. Here's Jackson trying to bull his way for extra yardage, short of the first down, but into Gladiator territory at the 22.5.
And you're right, it is short of the first down, but that's the kind of chunk yardage, as I call it, that you would like to get as an offensive football team in this particular situation. Again, let the clock go all the way down to 2 or 3 seconds. Use it up. It's 3rd and 4, 3rd and long, 3.5.
Plus a smart call. You don't have to get it all back on 2nd down. Now it's a 3rd and 3. Many more options. Graziani will roll. Hasn't done that much. Batted away. Good play by Mason, knocking it away from Jackson. And now decision time. And I think they might go for it here. And Hotchkiss thinking. And I was wrong. Here comes Remy Hamilton.
I think this is the right thing. You got to kick the field goal because, as you mentioned before, then you're up by 16, provided you do make the field goal. That's 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions. So percentage-wise, this is the correct thing to do. Now, it's not the correct thing to do if you get it blocked or you get it returned for a touchdown, but that is very unlikely.
Hamilton, the spot will be at the 20-yard line, 38-yard field goal. Under 40 yards last year, he was 50%. Good snap, hold, missed badly. He hooked it. Ball is around and live at the 5-yard line, and now it'll be downed, and Vegas will have it 1st and 10 at their own 5. We're going to quickly slip away here and be back with more fourth quarter action. Avengers holding on with 6:05 to play by 13. It's 54-41.
I will not be afraid of the dark.
I will not feel guilty leaving my dog alone.
I will know my children are safe.
I will finally be able to relax!
At ADT, we help more people feel safe in more ways than any other security company. A single ADT system can help protect your home and family from burglary, fire, and carbon monoxide for as little as $99. Plus, save up to 20% off your homeowner's insurance. Call 1-800-ADT-ASAP.
In competition, injuries happen. It's part of the game. And to get back your level of performance takes a lot of hard work, discipline, and the best health care. Health South is the nation's leading provider of outpatient diagnostic, surgery, and rehabilitation services. So we can help you get back fast to the action, the competition, and the glory. We know your body. We understand your spirit. We get you back.
College basketball on Fox Sports Net 2. UCLA looks for revenge against a Trojan team looking for the season sweep. Wednesday on Fox Sports Net 2.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The only show that takes you inside the world of extreme sports each and every weeknight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Weeknights on Fox Sports Net.
Las Vegas, 6 minutes to do something about the 13-point Avenger lead. February the 16th, we're back with a great American race in NASCAR here on Fox, the 45th running of the Daytona 500. Their Super Bowl is at the beginning of the season, and Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, and Larry McReynolds and our crew will be there on hand. It's NASCAR on Fox, the Daytona 500. McDonough 29 for 45 as he slings one out to the near side to Williams. Stutter step, doubled up and brought down. The Lonnie Ford and Ingram combined. J.J. Washington actually came up with a football, but the whistle had already sounded after the 13-yard gain. Well, this crowd here today, an all-time regular season record. So congratulations to the Avengers, 14,827. An opportunity to be part of the fun again next week. Noontime is the kickoff. San Jose, the opposition, the Arena Bowl champions.
Be a great game, and like you said, it's a great way to spend 3 hours on a Saturday night, a Sunday afternoon, and you talk about attendance. That's the efforts and the results of a lot of hard work by a lot of people in the Avenger front office.
Ball up in the air, and it finally hits the turf as Washington, J.J. Washington, who has been caught behind some pretty good players on this roster, as Ingram has also.
Take a look at the butter.
Chasing for that one.
Chris Butterfield, ex-wrestler. Humboldt State.
6 foot, 295 from Humboldt State. You know, when he came in here a couple years ago, highly touted. Not to say that he hasn't lived up to it, but he's got mass potential. He's one of those guys with the motor always running. Surwanga in the battle with the AFL's top receiver, and Waswa wins that round.
And you know who made that, though, that incompletion? John DeWitt, the guy that they were talking about, Doug Kay was talking about, number 97, does a great job, along with Butterfield and the rest of the defensive line, of rushing the passer. The big guy from Vanderbilt does a nice job, Billy Mack, of coming off the corner. Now, the guy whose name we haven't called much tonight is Mike Ulafali, number 50. Seems to be just getting used to this new defensive system.
He's in there now, put his hand up, but not enough. First down, reception on a 4th down play by Horacek. Ulafali wearing number 50, part of the championship team last year, one of 14 children. The youngest, in fact, of 14 children, and he makes his home in the Hawaiian Islands.
Why does he wear number 50, do you know?
You're going to tell me
I
after
am
this
throw.
Macdonald with flags down, over the middle, touchdown! 16 yards and a score. To Cedric Robinson, flags down at the line of scrimmage.
This might be an illegal defense by the Avengers.
While we sort this out, Ulafali, the former Cougar of BYU, why does he wear number 50?
For the 50th state, Hawaii.
There you go.
See this, Billy?
Enough said.
Enough said.
I bring the 14 kids into the equation, you bring
Illegal
the 50th
shift,
state, and
offense.
it's all good.
2 men moving at the same time before the snap without resetting. 5
Take
yards
points
from
off
the
the
previous
board.
spot.
That's
Keep it
the
down.
most important aspect at this juncture. Back to the 21-yard line.
Illegal movement that time, Bill. 2 offensive players were moving at the same time. One can only move, and he can go forward like Canadian football.
They need to get to the 6 to get a first down. Here's Robinson trying to get a little extra, and then he's knocked into the dasher boards. Down he goes. 3:15. Clock continues to move. A must-convert situation for the Gladiators of Las Vegas.
I'm a little surprised that the Gladiators are not taking more shots into the end zone because, as you said, they need 2 scores.
McDonough, there's the pump fake, gets away from DeWitt, throws, caught. Horacek down. Surwanga, fumble, fly football. Avengers have it, no whistle yet, turnover number 3.
If there are no penalty flags, and I don't see a penalty flag.
There were no whistles, so how can you not call it a loose ball?
Again, a reminder to our fans out there that there is no instant replay in the Arena Football League. And I'm glad of that because this is such a fast-moving game. I think replay would slow the game down much too much.
I don't see how you can reverse this if no one blew the whistle. How can you? Do you agree with me there?
I totally agree with you.
I mean, unless they say somebody blew it.
Los Angeles fumbled and Las Vegas recovered. First down.
Oh, I didn't see that at the end of the play.
Yeah, we were blocked out from that. Surwanga fumbled the ball at the end, and the Gladiators recovered it.
So this is a fumble here. It was a live football. Then they'll pick it up.
Correct.
That's Wheeler, and he'll fumble.
And he'll fumble.
No,
that's out. It's out. That's out.
You think that was out?
Oh, yeah.
I thought he might have been down.
That was a double fumble.
McDonough throws. Incomplete.
And McDonough goes down again. I'll tell you, he has not seen many of his passes at the end of the pass this evening. He's been knocked down so many times by this aggressive defensive front of the Avengers. You know, we're going to take another look.
Let's see if
at
the
end
knee
of this.
is down.
And this is Wheeler.
Yeah, ball's out.
Ball's out.
You're right.
I'm never wrong on that stuff.
Yes,
Bill.
you are. Here is, well, occasionally. That is going to be Wheeler for only the 2nd penalty of the day. Before that, prior to that, just 1 penalty for 1 yard for the Avenger. Nearly a flawless football in that regard.
You know what? This one might be a inadvertent penalty. And it'll be a 10-yard penalty instead of a spot foul. And I believe that's exactly what they're doing. Again, the difference between inadvertent pass interference and intentional pass interference.
Now the Gladiators still breathing. The double fumble, the penalty, and there is life in the Gladiators yet. trying to win their first game representing the city of Las Vegas, where they will make their home opener on the 13th against Tampa Bay. McDonough scrambling, in trouble, throws it away. Souvenir time. Smart play. That was first down.
Well, it's a good play, but you know, they need to start thinking.
The clock is moving.
I know,
They
I
got
was
to
just
get
going to say
up to the line of
that.
scrimmage.
Las Vegas better get up to the line of scrimmage, or maybe better yet, settle down, call a timeout, and put together their heads on what they need to call here at the end of the game.
They want to save those timeouts, though, on the defensive end. McDonough throws, tipped at the line of scrimmage, so anything after that, you can have some contact.
And the roar of the crowd that time was to alert the officials that the 25-second clock had expired, and I believe the fans were right on that, because there was a 0 on the clock prior to the ball being snapped. Well, there's their first timeout.
You know what I also think? I don't want to correct you, so I won't. I think the roar of the crowd had to do with what was going on in the stands, to tell you the honest truth. I don't think that many people were aware of the 25 seconds.
It sounded
good. You know
good.
what? Spin it whatever way you want. We're back in a minute.
What if you had the chance to be God for 1 week? What would you do? This Memorial Day, let there be light. The guy next door gets his shot at being the man upstairs.
Bam.
Jim Carrey.
They saw that it was good.
Bruce Almighty.
Chickens have breasts, wings, and thighs. But no one has ever found the nuggets on a chicken.
It's not there either.
Chicken breast strips from Carl's Jr. Because chickens don't have nuggets.
Hi, I'm your new satellite system.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of equipment.
Oh, this isn't the half of it.
Looks weird.
It's ugly.
I heard that.
We'd like to watch the big game tonight.
It's supposed to be a doozy. Sorry, local channels are extra.
We want to switch back to cable.
Gee, I'd like to help you, but you actually signed the contract. That was your big mistake.
Don't let satellite into your home. Instead, upgrade to cable. Call 1-800-800-CABLE now.
Well, so much for good reception.
Next game, there's TD. That's the bobblehead. We're giving them away. Be here early. Should be a big crowd, great game. The SaberCats, the champions in town. Noon next Sunday. Tickets as low as $10. And although the game clock was down to about 0. Yes, it was a little fun in the stands. It was the reason for the roar.
I thought they were yelling about the clock. I thought they're great fans.
On occasion. Here's McDonough throwing, touchdown! Haracek on a 3rd down play.
Now they're going to go for 2. Las Vegas will. That's called a spot pattern, where the receiver runs to a spot in the end zone. McDonough just delivers the ball and puts it on the spot.
Haracek with the catch, his 4th touchdown catch of the day. Minute 22 remaining.
You're going to see Haracek there. It just goes to the corner of the end zone. And again, the ball was delivered prior to him making his break and getting to the end zone.
54-47 pending the extra points. There's your main man. If not the best, among the top 3 in this league. Chris Jackson would give you a run as far
you know
as
what?
the top dog. We're seeing the 2 best, aren't we?
We're very fortunate. We've got arguably the 3 best receivers in the league on the field tonight. Exactly. Most productive, I'll tell you that.
Big point after. He's put through. 54-48.
Now, a reminder to our listeners and our fans and our viewers, there is overtime in the Arena Football League. So if indeed, the Gladiators tie this thing up, look for the Avengers to want to go, obviously, into overtime.
Family pack, only $48 will get you plenty. How about lower level seats for 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas? That's a gourmet meal as far as I'm concerned. All for those great low prices of $48. Call 188-AVENGERS, 188-AVENGERS, and the first family pack of the year. Sunday, the game we've been talking about, that's next Sunday at noon against San Jose. A tenuous position here for the home team. Yes, they're up, but it's only 6 points. Touchdown, extra points, and they're on the short end of things. Minute 19 remaining. And timeouts, Las Vegas has just 1 timeout. But then again, for the uninitiated in that last minute, for time to move forward, you have to make positive yards.
Got to make positive yards, which again, I think is a good rule. In other words, the quarterback of the Avengers, hypothetically, if the Avengers were to get ahead, cannot just take a knee and kill the clock.
4 plays, 6 yards in 2 minutes. Took over 2 minutes to negotiate those 6 yards. Already tonight, they have listed the Iron Man as Greg Hopkins and the MVP as Chris Jackson of this game. So congratulations to those two.
You know what? Those two can be the MVP and the Iron Man in every game.
Feel free to write that in before kickoff.
Yeah, I know.
Big kickoff here, and expect an onside kick. Unless the ultimate faith in the defense for the Gladiators. But some hands guys out there in prime position with Ingram, Washington, Hopkins, Jackson, Wheeler.
You take a look at the eyes of Rick Cunningham, lineman from the Gladiators. This is serious business for all these guys.
There's the pooch kick. Up it goes. Loose football. I believe the Gladiators have it unless the Avengers got it on the second little squibblers. The kicker with it. There's a flag down.
There's a flag down which tells you where it's thrown, that it was offsides by the kicking team. If indeed it is offsides, and if the Avengers obviously recovered it, you know, all the Avengers have got to do is kill the clock here for 67 seconds.
We will sort out the mess, if you will.
Offside, number 77 of the kicking team. In arena football, that penalty is marked from where the ball ended play. 5 yards, first down.
First down for the Avengers. And they will have, of course, great field position at the 6-yard line. 1 timeout. And the clock is at 1:07. It will stop at a minute, of course, and then we will have what we would call outdoor football time. After the running clock throughout most of this half, and of course the beginning of the first half also. And it is at 1 minute. And we will have a stoppage in the clock. It'll be first down and goal for the Avengers. They're just those 60 seconds away from their second opening day victory in their 4 years as a franchise. And we're going to take a break. Be right back for the frantic finish to this one. The AFL season opens up year number 17, 54-48.
I am a soldier, an army of one. Even though I am part of the strongest army in the world, I am my own force. With the latest technology, training, and support, who I am has become better than who I was. And I'll be the first to tell you, the might of the U.S. Army doesn't lie in numbers. It lies in soldiers like me, Specialist Mark DeCarly. I am an army of one, and you can see my strength.
Avengers Arena Football demonstrated by Kurt Warner and John Elway. Avengers quarterbacks pass almost every play. Score so high, you'll need oxygen. Running for the sidelines? What sidelines? And the field, only 50 yards long. Want to see it all for yourself? Call 888-AVENGERS and get your tickets today.
The Avengers versus the SaberCats, Sunday at noon in Staples Center. Call 888-AVENGERS.
Bill Macdonald and Artie Gigantino back at Staples Center. We certainly hope you've enjoyed our first of 6 telecasts on Fox Sports Net 2. NBC takes over the reins next week at noon. A minute away from a win. First and goal, leading by 6. Tony Graziani up the middle to Vavao. Matthias Berries and Bulls down to the 3-yard line. Second down. Going to be tough to stop him for negative yardage.
And this is where you want a big guy like this down in this particular situation as Las Vegas takes their last time out.
Do you let them score?
No. I don't. You know
With
why?
no timeouts.
I'll tell you why. Why no? Because you have a guy who's in the backfield who's been a defensive tackle, an offensive guard all his life, not used to handling the ball.
Could get a fumble.
And you could get a fumble. You could jar the ball loose.
With no timeouts and a big guy like that and a decent offensive line, maybe better than decent, a good offensive line for the Avengers, you would assume positive yardage is
But Bill, you know what? If you let them score, then you need 13 points instead of just 6 here to catch up. So I think that sometimes it merits
it's a
that.
thought,
It's
yes.
a thought, but not this particular time. Now, that's the good and bad news for the Avengers. They can't get a first down. So they should just get another 2 yards by handing it off to the big guy again.
Graziani, positive yardage, and he's in. And I think they did let him score. That wasn't much resistance that time by Las Vegas. So they took, Coach Hagee took the tack. Let them get in.
They took the Bill Macdonald route.
Well, I don't advocate it often, but
I don't advocate it ever.
I could imagine an old defensive coach. You never want to let anybody in.
You know why? Because I just think pride and keeping people out of the end zone is very important for the psyche, so to speak, of a defensive football team. And I've never been a proponent of that.
Graziani ran 6 in last year. He runs 1 in for a score. Now they're going for the 2-point conversion. Graziani back, throws, Hopkins, bobble incomplete. And Graziano got pegged at the end of that play, so it's a 12-point lead with 53 seconds remaining. And Tony Graziani is our Carl's Jr. star of the game with 7 touchdowns. He ran 1 in, 18 for 24.
That's amazing. 1 out of 3 completions, or less than 1 out of 3 completions, were for touchdowns. What a tremendous, tremendous percentage.
Play of the game will belong to Chris Jackson.
CJ
Not just a play, but plays.
I know. CJ comes up big in the first game of the year. A year ago, he had 5 touchdowns, receptions in the first game. This guy, when healthy, is truly one of the top, arguably the top player in this league.
And I mentioned the Long Beach Press-Telegram plays of the game because Doug Ikrakorian, the great columnist, is here. I see J.A. Adonde, columnist for the Times, along with Larry Stewart. But Doug Krikorian, your old pal, my buddy, making an appearance.
Great one. Great one. You know, it's part of Los Angeles, though. There's some tremendous newspapers, obviously, and some of the reporters, some of the columnists, they become stars in their own entity.
9 catches, 165 for Jackson. Welcome back to CJ. Everybody up, 53 seconds. And not to keep you riveted to the television if you are at that, but so much can happen in less than a minute in the Arena League. We have seen it time and time again. Robinson out across the 10-yard line.
But you know what the tough thing now for McDonough and for the Gladiators is the fact with no timeouts left, they've got to get out of bounds. And, you know, you don't want to throw incomplete passes, but you might have to stop the clock. But if I were them, I would attack down the field 4 times here. Big time down the field.
Aracek, your #1 target. He's in motion. He's going to get it. A lateral upcoming. And out of bounds. That'll stop the clock at the 25-yard line, which is here on this 50-yard field, midfield.
The old flea flicker play. Throw it out.
He gave it away a little too early.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
You think? I mean, we run that a little bit better in the street. A hook and ladder, my goodness. That doesn't work anymore.
Got a couple of running it himself,
yes.
He would have gotten some extra
yardage. Thank you very much. Plus, it took up 5 more seconds.
McDonough. Now Wilkinson, the motion man. McDonough back, pretty good protection. Throws and running before he caught it. Thus an incomplete pass, bobbling when he went out of bounds, was Aracek.
That's the bad news. Good news is it stops the clock with 36 seconds left.
If they score, it's going to come down to the onside kick.
But I'm telling you, Bill, whether you're a coach, a fan, or just an armchair quarterback, You got to throw the ball. And I'm not being critical because Las Vegas has done a great job tonight. But you got to throw the ball into the end zone.
They should here, second down. 36 seconds remaining. Jeremy Wilkinson again in motion. Guns it to the near side, and Wilkinson met the wall without the football. Incomplete.
And last time I'm going to say it, but you can't score unless you put the ball around the end zone and around the goal line in this situation.
Trying to nickel and dime their way down the field.
Now it's 3rd and 10, and if you throw 2 more incompletes, the game's over anyway.
Avengers in great position to win their opener.
And what a good win, excuse me, Bill. What a good win, and what a way to come out and make a statement, especially with San Jose beating Arizona. Arizona's already 0-1.
McDonough, incomplete again, bobbled out of bounds.
Well, was that a nice defensive play that time?
The focus of Artie has been horrible the last minute or two. And we say that deferring that he is one of the best in the league, but just trying to run before the catch. Simple concept.
Serwanga does a nice job here, though, of closing on the football and putting his shoulder into the ball, which jarred the ball loose.
Game
That's
right here.
a very good defensive football play.
4th down. The Gladiators need to get to at least the 14, or the game is over. McDonough, last gasp. Throws.
Finally.
End zone. Live football intercepted. And the Avengers are going to win the opener. 17 seconds remaining. It's going to come out to the 5-yard line. I believe it's Serwanga who has the interception, cradling the football in the end zone.
And again, for our fans out there, the ball is live if it comes off the net. And in the younger days of the Arena Football League, quarterbacks in that situation used to throw the ball into the net almost like a Hail Mary and hope that their guys come down with it, Bill.
Before we go off the air and they run the last play, a reminder. Next Sunday, right here, Staples Center, noon kickoff, the defending champion SaberCats. Free burgers if the Avengers reach 50. Bobbleheads to the first 5,000. And it's a family pack day. 1-888 Avengers. Bring the family. Enjoy arena football with the 1-0 Los Angeles Avengers in front of the biggest regular season crowd in franchise history.
Absolutely, and it's a good win, and it's a good start for the Doug Kays and Burley and some of the newer people that have been added to this franchise.
Well, for Artie Gigantino, I'm Bill Macdonald. We're going to say so long from Staples Center. The final score here this afternoon, 60-48. We're going to hand things over to NBC for a few weeks. Our next telecast will be Sunday, the 23rd of March, when the Avengers battle the Rampage of Grand Rapids. We'll be live at noon right here on Fox Sports Net 2. The Avengers 1-0 in 2003. Coming up next, Sunday Night Fights. And remember, tonight, more on this game on the Southern California Sports Report. You've been watching Los Angeles Avengers Arena Football on Fox Sports Net. So long, everybody.